chasing wrong from right. Eyes like fire burning through the haze. Truth is a weapon, cuts through the maze. Some call her trouble, some call her brave. Digging up secrets they tried to save. A real deal around town. She's breaking it down, spinning the wheel, exposing the sound. They despise her, they praise her, but she won't slow down. Real deal around town. The truth's her cry. Shadows, they curse her name. Afraid of the spotlight she brings to the game. But the grateful ones, they cheer in the dark for the spark she ignites in their weary hearts. Some call her danger, some call her hope. She's the thin line on the tightrope. The sound. They despise her, they praise her, but she won't slow down. Real deal around town. The truth's her crown, yeah. The sound. They despise her, they praise her, but she won't slow down. Real deal around town. The truth's her crown, yeah. The truth's her crown, yeah.
Well, hi everybody. We're back again for another episode of Townsend Madness. That's what it, get the lighting right. Oh, thought I burnt the bulb out. Nope, everything is good. So, yeah, another episode of Townsend Madness. It's going to be Townsend Madness until the municipal election. We don't usually get this crazy, but because we have the ability to go online and really start shit. Or not, I'm not starting. I'm responding to everybody else's crap. I'm not, nothing surprises me. This town is just vile. It's just vicious over things that shouldn't be vicious, but they are. So, you know, face the usual problems over at Townsend, what's going on. That is a horrible Facebook page. They're really attacking everybody, and they won't attack. There's some people they won't attack because that's not allowed. But they're attacking everybody else. So the cult, I call them the cult now. So they're attacking Harrison pretty bad, which is completely crazy, and everything they're saying is just made up. Or they don't know what they're talking about. And I'm going to be doing more videos on that. I did the Joe Skank one. You have to, if you haven't watched the Joe Skank something election madness, something about that. Watch that video. It's one not to miss if you're a Townsend voter. Trust me. And then I'm going to be doing more because Facebook's just lighting up here. over the craziness, which none of it makes any sense. It's crazy. So I'm going to be, again, exposing the lies and telling the truth. And my mission here is transparency, and I'll be letting you know what's going on. So we're here today. I called you here today to talk about the Board of Selectmen, the Select Board meeting going on tonight, which that has some election interesting little tidbits, which I just went over the agenda, and it's like, oh, wait, I didn't see that before. Selectmen agendas, you got to really go over a couple times, because things just, you just get so used to reading it that things just go right by you. And that keeps happening to me. So I have to read that a few times before I catch some of the things that are on there. I've had people tell me, oh, that's on the agenda. I'm like, no, it's not. And, oh, it is. So I looked at it just a minute ago, and they're talking about some election issues, and which I think is kind of cute. Because I don't know if it's coming from Harrison to the board for them to share at their meeting to let the public know, or they're just trying to put their own spin on how the election's going to be run. But there's going to be some things on here that just aren't under their authority. They're run by, the town clerk runs elections. And it's actually the end result, the counting and all that other stuff, is actually run by the Board of Registrars. They're certifying the nomination papers right now to make sure everybody got the right signatures from the right people. In other words, there are registered voters. And once that's done, we'll get the list. And then they do all the counting. They certify the election and make sure everybody voted that was supposed to vote, or what have you. And are there not enough of this, that, or the next thing? They do all that. So, and it's all run by state law. So the select board have really nothing to say about it. They did mention they're going to have a candidates night. As far as I know, I don't think there's any contested races except the select board. That's the only race that I think is contested. So they're talking about having a candidates night, which is really a candidates intro night. I mean, I'm going to be doing campaigning from this channel, because this is my channel. I can do whatever the hell I want. It is not coming from me. Okay. Oops. Sorry, I slipped. But anyway, I shouldn't be reading my messages out loud. So anyway, so powers that be want to determine the outcome of the election. We're hearing that at different levels of our government, from the, different states and the federal government. So we're not doing that here in Townsend. We're going to follow the law here in Townsend. And I trust our election process, and the select board have nothing to say about it. Just want to remind you of that. I don't know what they're going to say tonight, but I'll tell you the truth when we're done. How's that sound? And you're just going to vote like you always do, okay? But candidates night, okay, somebody's having a candidates night. I don't know if anybody's going to go. There's hardly anybody running. They might be writing candidates, because that's usually, in fact, a lot of people don't even bother taking out papers. That's been tradition here in Townsend. Oh, nobody votes. Nobody's going to run. Just do a write-in. Get 5 of your friends to write you in, and you're in. That's how many of our boards have been staffed for years. And even some of the people some of the planning board members are not elected. They were appointed because nobody ran last year. So the more people are running this year, but I understand there's an open seat. I mean, there's open seats all over the place. And I think the only contested race is all right, they're starting shortly. I'm going to pull them up, even though, oh crap. I did it again. I didn't pull them up. Oh my gosh. They don't know how to do it. They don't know what they're doing over there. All right, window. No, Chrome tab. Oh, Chrome tab. Oh my gosh. Oh, Bob Garside's there. Interesting. Add to stage. You see Bob Bob Garside there. He's our building inspector. He's also the ADA coordinator. Just throwing. They don't know how to turn off the volume on their laptops. Turn off the volume. We had record-breaking heat today, in case you didn't notice. It was, I think it got up to 75 degrees around here. Might have even gone higher. I was in New Hampshire earlier, and the temperature on my truck was saying 79. I don't think that was right. I think it was just from sitting in the sun or something. I know it was warm, but I don't think so. And the person that texted me earlier, I'm going to have to ask you what you're talking about on one issue that you sent me. Oh, okay.
That's better.
What do we got here? I'm going to see if I can.
Karen, can you hear me?
Aaron, can you please activate the select board, both the audio and video?
Yep, be right here in 1 second, just organizing myself.
Don't ask me what they're doing. So anyway, the chat is open if people want to put their comments even before we get started. I'm going to give you a brief update on Starbucks. I believe it's scheduled for April 3rd. They had said it was going to, they usually open, they did tell me in the select board meeting a couple times ago that they usually open new stores on a Friday. So tentatively, we're planning on April 3rd. Don't make any plans. Call out sick from work. We're going to go get coffee at Starbucks for the first time ever in Townsend, Massachusetts. Okay? I'll be there. I won't be first in line probably, but I'll be there all day. What are they doing? Oh, that's Garside. Mute yourself, Mr. Garside. There you go. Thank you.
Probably 2 minutes away from getting folks, just gathering our items, so everyone hang on.
You're live. You're live. You are live. I don't know why they wait until the time of the meeting in order to get organized. What the hell kind of ship are they running over there? Oh, UPS. You want to know about UPS? Okay. No businesses in their right mind are interested in Townsend. That's my sarcasm. Sorry. UPS is still coming. They're working on their permits. They had some delays. That's a little different building. They're still working on it, and they're not close.
I'm ready. Yes, sir.
Okay?
All right, TCAM, we're up and running.
They're just not close to opening the UPS stores, but it's coming. They're still
This
working
meeting
on it.
is being recorded.
My guess is next summer, maybe.
Good
Or
afternoon,
this summer.
everyone. Seems like spring out, so that's a good sign. I'd like to call the meeting to order of the Select Board on this Tuesday, March 10th, 2026 at 4:05 p.m. Could I have a roll call, please?
Veronica Cobb present. Tiger present.
And Laura Schifrin present. Join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to thank all of our veterans as well as all of our military serving here and abroad, our first responders here in town, our
That's nice.
staff, our elected and appointed officials here as well as their families. We thank you all. This meeting is being recorded and will be uploaded to YouTube. Is there anyone else recording the meeting?
Yep.
Thank you, Cindy. I do not have any chairman's additions or deletions.
Nor do I.
Okay, I got the nod that it's no. 1.5, is there a motion?
I, Valerie Goodrich, move to approve the meeting minutes for February 24th, 2026 and March 3rd, 2026.
Veronica Cal, second.
Any discussion?
Excuse me. I had just one correction. Thanks for input in there, so.
Okay, and I just had a couple edits, but
I added
nothing.
I added a few.
Okay, and the 24th is here again because of the thing mentioned, and that's been eliminated. Okay, alrighty. Roll call vote, please.
Veronica Cal,
Valerie Goodrich, aye.
And Laura Schifrin, aye. I see that Bob Garside is here, and he is, remind me what number?
He is 410.
410 on the agenda. If it pleases the board, may I take 410 out of order?
Absolutely.
Okay. Good
Thank you.
afternoon, Bob.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. If I'd be better if I was outside, so this should be the shortest select board meeting ever.
We're trying.
Don't jinx me.
Uh,
Do you want me to kick off, Bob, or do you want me
Oh,
to?
I'm sorry. Yeah,
I
I
can
guess,
jump in.
I got it, Karen. I'm sorry. So obviously, the 4.10 is, we have the building administrative assistant, Janet Levitt, is retiring. She's retiring on March 27th. 2026 will be her last day. I'm sorry, will be technically her last day. She is retiring from office on March 12th. Janet has put 27 years into the town, a remarkable career, basically serving the citizens, the contractors, and the town of Townsend for the last 27 years, which is a feat. I'm about 5 years into it, and I don't know how I'm going to get the next 22, but she's way ahead of me. So, we'd like to thank Janet for her service, and I think what we wanted to talk about also is what we're going to do in the building department, because it's just me and her, and what we think we can do moving forward.
Okay.
Yeah, Bob had a couple ideas. I think he's, checked with some other local TAs and town managers in terms of paths forward. We noted that there's, some flexibility within the budget for Bob to sort of see, how to, move forward, but also being financially aware. And he sort of touched on an idea this afternoon about perhaps having him come in for some more office hours, or being present in the office more, and then sort of offsetting it with, other inspectors that we've worked with in the past to go do the site inspections. I think with the longevity and the sort of the tenure that Janet had, it's tough to fill those shoes right off the bat, and it really ought to be something we'd be thoughtful about over time, and not rush in to hire any one person, but perhaps backfill for a little while now in honor of the budget, as well as giving Bob some time to sort of shake out as a department head where to go from here. Bob, does that sound about accurate?
That is accurate. I mean, my understanding is, let's face it, that we all know where the budget situation is. We have a little money left from Janet's pay. It's up to the select board and the town manager whether you guys want to fill that position. My understanding is a hiring freeze on until this all settles out. So we could do several things. There's a short-term goal, and there might be a long-term goal. It all depends on how you want to look at it. There'll be some monies left over in the budget to get through fiscal year 26, which will be I count it as the remaining 16 weeks. The 16 weeks starts next Monday. Janet leaves on Thursday. I understand she might be getting paid vacation or whatever the case may be, but for the fact of the matter is the staffing of the building department has to start next Monday. So there's several ways we can attack it for the fiscal year 26 or even the fiscal year 27, and give it a time trial and play it out. It's up to how you guys want to approach it. We could certainly put in another inspector part of my time, I know I'm in the office, but the time of my time is out doing inspections also half of that time. So having an inspector, we have Dana Barnes on the books. He's he's the alternate here. There are several others that we can get. It's not a problem. Having an inspector just come in and do the inspections would allow me to sit in the office a little longer. Although it would be cut down hours, let's all make sure we're clear about that. It would still allow me some more time in the office. Another option would be, bringing in a part-time administrator for now. Whatever the case may be, 5, 10, 15 hours a week. I would still remain and do my thing. We should be able to cover that expense. There's also options. Obviously, the option is replacing it 30 for 30 as it is now. Maybe in the future, splitting some admin or sharing some admin with another town might be an idea. I don't think it's something we can get up and running in the next 2 days. But that might be something for fiscal year 27 we talk about, or we think about regionalizing, an administrative assistant that comes in a couple days a week and covers the office. So, again, the short term, I'm trying to get through from next Monday to July 1st. With the money we have, we can certainly roll it into 27 if it works, and maybe extend it through 27. And in the fall, we'll give it 90 days, and if it just doesn't work, it doesn't work, and we can adjust. So I'm open for suggestions. I'm open for, hey, let's try to pursue this for 90 days. I just want to make sure come Monday. Let me make sure. I'm sorry. I'm clear about that. I have access to all the voicemails. I have access to all emails. I have access to all permits. So even remotely, I watch what's going on. So nothing is going to slip through the cracks computer-wise. Now, the people coming into the office, there might be a couple who knock on the door that aren't going to get the service. So starting Monday, will be more remote than ever, I guess. So I guess the question is how we want to address the Janet gap, for lack of a better analogy.
So it's really down to 4 options. Option 1 would be Bob, spends more time in office, but it's slightly reduced hours, and he uses someone like a Dana Barnes as your alternate to go out to sites. And with that caveat, we would have some increased signage both down at the door level as well as on Facebook, town website, about what the hours are that Bob would be present.
Excuse me, Karen, I'm sorry. I do have my cell phone, so we can post a cell phone. They can call me as they need me.
Yeah,
So that's a huge advantage.
Yeah, option 2 is a part-time, kind of a fractional employee to offset some of the hours and be rolled into the town payroll and such. Option 3 is rehiring someone at the similar role of the building admin, and option 4 is looking for an intermunicipal region type agreement with a Groton, a Pepperell, and Ashby, whoever who may
Which
have.
is not immediate.
Yeah.
So, Bob, I just want to thank you first, because I think you're like our first case study in what the next year is going to be like with the hiring freeze, where we need to take time to think through all these things for the future.
Mm-hmm.
So
Gee,
I'm
thanks.
sorry, I'm sorry, the guinea pig.
Not my first time, but I thank you.
But whatever Bob feels best, but see how it goes for a little bit.
Veronica?
I like option 1 with an eye towards option 4 for next fiscal year.
Yeah.
That's what I like. I think that to get anybody up to speed, and option 2 and option 3 will be more
Work.
more dissonance.
Especially with the budget still. And I think the reason for the hiring freeze, we have to keep reminding ourselves why it's there, is to explore all these things and see if we can have a slightly different, it's still a high quality service, but it's just a slightly different arrangement.
And I think we are going to sort of ramp into a busier season with, potential buildings and renovations and such. So I think having Bob present, for hours that are really on a set schedule, and his accessibility via cell phone and his access to the Permalinks and online database, which we've been working with Guardian on, will help continuity there. And then twofold is you have someone like Dana Barnes, who's a pretty experienced home inspector in the area, to go out and do some of the site work. And I think that gives us sort of a pause and lets us really sort of ascertain where to go from here, you know, and then get feedback from Bob. So like you said, in 90 days, he may say, hey guys, this is not working.
Right.
And then we know, and then we could sort of, you know, check out other scenarios at the same time. So I think Bob can do this pretty seamlessly without a lot of interference, or he doesn't need a lot of coaching from me. So he's pretty autonomous when it comes to this stuff.
Well,
He
and
likes
we've
to
been
feel
doing
like-
it. We've been doing it for a year and a half, Janet and I. So, I mean, as far as the kind of remote situation, so it's the least damaging to the town, I guess, for the lack of a better word. You know, you can't cut the clerk and shut the clerk down right now. The assessors, the treasurer, the building. I've been remote for a year. They know who I am. They have my cell phone. You know, not that they haven't called Janet, but the fact is the electrical and plumbing inspector basically run their own game. They make their own appointments. They do their own thing. So this, I think, would be the smoothest and most seamless for the town and for the people of the town.
I
Agreed.
agree.
I think we all agree.
So we've identified that as option one, I guess, for a motion would be, you know, approve option one, you know, Bob to reset hours and then bring up, you know, continue the alternate inspector with review in 90 days, let's say. Something to that
I
effect.
make a motion for the building inspector to reset the hours according to his needs
Mhm.
and to work with alternative building inspectors and to review that plan in 90 days. Town administrator.
All right,
Right.
excellent.
Okay, any further discussion? I agree with all the statements made that Bob knows his office best.
Mhm.
And again, we are sorry that you're going through this, but
No, you're not.
that you know what you're doing. So with that, roll call vote, please.
Veronica Cal, aye.
Monica Richi?
And Laura Schifrin, aye. Thank you
Thanks,
very
Bob.
much.
Have a great
Bob.
day.
Thank you. I appreciate it. You have yourself a great night. Get out in the sun.
Yes, sir.
I see that Selena's on, and she's on for 4.9. Should we go there, or it's up to you, Karen?
I will defer to your chair. I don't have much to say about 4.9. I know
That's
that-
the
I know there's a
CR.
few things in there that I'll bring up on the screen, but
Yeah, I'm good.
do you want to jump to 4.9 too?
Selena, would you like us to take you next?
Well,
I think
it's
we're-
me, and.
Yeah, she's
on
outside, so
to
let's,
Support.
Yeah, if you wouldn't mind, I have to go pick up my son in a little bit, so that would be helpful.
Okay,
Alright.
we can do that.
So I guess the
So that's
first,
4.9.
yeah, the first thing to do is to put up, the deed, I think.
let's see, let me make sure I got the right one here.
So I'll just get started, let me see what you're doing.
I'll put it up
Yeah,
on the
that's the
screen.
guy.
Yep.
So, the CR committee is something that we put in place, what, about a year ago?
Mhm.
We have been looking at Squanicook Meadows with an eye towards the expansion that Tesa wants to use on the fields. So we are now at the point where, we're ready to act on this as best we
Mhm.
can. And so I just wanted to update the committee and get a vote of support. So the property is Squanicook Meadows. Everybody knows where that is, right? Tesa Fields and the surrounding open space. This was the open space for the Horseshoe Drive development. And this is the deed. It's in the SharePoint. So it was the open space intended use was for a future well site. And that's, if you read through that, it's parcel B3A on the plan. Also, as the remaining parts of parcel B3, B1, and B2 shall be known as Holly's Playground. And part of that, at least, is what is used by Tesa for the fields that they are hoping to expand. So if it were today and that property was either held by the owner or deeded to the town, and it is deeded to the town, it's town-owned property, there is a potential for a conservation restriction to be placed on it. A large part of that parcel is priority habitat.
Mhm.
And it is also the headwaters of the Squanicook River. So I guess the next one I want is the plan. And so that would be, no, not this, the MESA CR. So we, the town, have a lease with Squanicook, with TESA. And, no, not that one.
That's the one I saw.
That's a
With the red
CR.
line.
Did I point to the wrong one? I want the map. Let me see what this comes up as. Yes, that's it.
I'll zoom in a wee bit here for you.
So, the town has a lease with us, with TESA. And in the special town meeting next week, TESA has requested a 50-year lease. And, main purpose for that is so that for doing the expansion they hope to do, they can get grants more easily. Keep it there, we'll talk about.
Okay.
So one of the uses in the deed is the water site, and you can see on this map that the access for the water site is on Horseshoe Drive. And there's the water department had given us, the footprint of the site for a building in the future. So that's the one of the uses on the property. And then if you go down to where the expansion is, that's the part that is not shaded, and that's where TESA will be updating and expanding their use of that area for the town soccer fields. And so that is part of the property. Selena, do you want to say anything else? Let me just say that the red hashed piece, that's the remainder of the property, and that is all of it really is priority habitat, except the little piece up where the additional parking is going to go. But that's the part that will be under the permit for the species that's out there. So we, the committee, have been working on a CR, and we're at the point where to get the MESA permit, the CR has really become real. We have to start the process of having it reviewed by NHESP and then EOEEA. And then once it's reviewed by them and our town council, it will come back to the town ready for local signatures, which is the select board signatures. So that's kind of the status. In the SharePoint is where we are with the CR.
Very lengthy.
They always are. They are incredibly detailed, especially when you consider.
As you would want them to be.
Yeah, layers of, recreation, habitat, especially for, it is the turtles. I love turtles. It is, really highlighting areas of explicit preservation for those critters and conservation for those critters. So I think it's a really nice use of the recreation space, but also ensuring some guardrails for preservations of turtle habitat. So kind of a win-win in my opinion. So.
And
I have a question.
the CR will be held by North County Land Trust. The property is still owned by the town. The thing about a CR is North County will be taking on the responsibility of making sure that the uses on that property is exactly the same as the uses that are on the deed for when the property was transferred to the town.
Yeah, so the deed will marry up with the conservation restriction, and it takes the town out of it, is my understanding, for us to supervise. It's North County Land Trust, which is an even doubly so win, if I'm understanding it correctly, because then it's less pressure on our conservation office and your office to have to oversee what's going on up here. It's North County Land Trust working with the folks from TESA or whoever for Holly's Playground to sort of carry forward. So.
And for notifying the town if there's any encroachment or any other use. So Selena, at this point, is there anything else that you would like to add?
I think you covered it pretty well. So, the Tesa soccer complex, the part that's not in the red hash, isn't, part of the CR as it's currently written. That is set aside for use, as playing fields.
So yeah, so the CR, if you look at it, it's on those parcels with the soccer complex, or it's referred to as Holly's Playground in the deed. Separate, you know, it's outside of the monitor. So they'll monitor the edge, but not what's happening in the soccer fields. That's
Okay.
governed by the lease that the select board has with TASA.
I guess what caught my eye in reviewing the red lines of that was the verbiage, and I'm not an attorney, but just caught my eye since it is for recreation, was that it was crossed out, which to me looked like you couldn't be wheelchair bound or on an electric scooter. That caught my eye. And I wondered why they took that out of it.
I think it was, they said no motorized except for.
Yes.
No, I
Can
thought
you
I read
put
it 3
up the CR,
times.
please? That's-
I
Yeah,
did not-
it is except for the,
I believe so. We discussed this last.
I mean, I would understand except for, I don't know why, I
It
wasn't
was a lot,
seeing
it was a
it,
big document, so.
Let me think where it is. That would be
but it caught my eye
in
as
the
like,
uses.
why would we do that? Or why?
Well,
The internet's very slow.
Like it was there, but it was crossed out.
it's the next one down.
Yeah.
Am I imagining?
And except for motorized equipment. So they crossed
Now
out wheelchairs and scooters and put equipment, so
So that I mean, in
Oh.
the
Used
future,
by
it
physically
might not
challenged
be a
parties.
wheelchair or scooter. There might be some other device, and we didn't want it to be saying
singled
just
out as
these,
that.
and then you couldn't have some other device that gets invented
A buggy,
for handicapped
wagon.
access. Right.
Okay,
well, I think like, I know as a soccer player, like I
I
wrecked my
misinterpreted.
ankle once and then I had the little scooter, but I know they mechanized those now. So sometimes it could be like a mechanized scooter or whatever. you know?
Okay,
So
Those
it-
little like cart things, they got all sorts
Okay.
of
all right.
devices. So.
So it's except for motorized equipment used by physically challenged parties.
Mhm.
So you can't go out there in a snowmobile, but you can use any sort of motorized equipment used by physically
As
challenged
deemed
persons.
by ADA, or, you know,
Yeah,
criteria.
exactly.
So,
my one question in terms of our conservation group and everything is because that we still govern the TASA part of the lease. Is there restrictions on what can be used on those fields because the conservation is around it? In other words.
No, I mean, their access, if you look at the.
No, I mean,
map-
like, in terms of what they can use on those fields for materials, chemicals and stuff, is that all affected by
That's
that?
part of the lease.
Okay,
If
that's
you
what-
read our lease
Yep.
with them, it's.
it regulates the
And James
It's
would.
So
know that.
herbicides
in
and
there,
whatever.
yeah.
And that is still on our conservation, not North County, or is it?
No, it's not conservation at all. It's the select board
Okay,
who is the lease.
Right,
But
but
who's-
who's governing, you
Yeah,
know, that they
that's-
use, you know, chemical 123 rather than chemical 999 for
The
like
select board.
select board, okay.
Yes, just like we do for the,
rodenticides.
pest stuff that's
Mhm.
used, that's governed by the select.
So,
board.
and Melanie, I would just want guidance from the county people if that's the case, because I don't think we should, if that's right, I mean, maybe not, but.
So wouldn't,
They would,
Our
you mean
conservation-
guiding as far as
So,
what
you know,
gets
if
used
someone
on
comes in
the-
there and display it and like phosphates the whole taste of fields, I'm assuming North County is gonna be like, what the heck's going on?
No,
It's
it
not,
will be
Okay, cool.
whoever's sitting
I'm
at
just-
this table.
because I know sometimes the budding conservation restrictions, that's why I was asking.
No, it's,
just like the pesticide thing, the Board of Health is who brought that to us. Wouldn't conservation bring that to us?
it's in the lease, so when the lease was written, yes, conservation was consulted
Okay.
on that at that point, or they, it wasn't done in a vacuum when the lease was done. There was a group of people that worked on that lease,
I
including,
trust James. Yeah.
well, James was
Yeah.
part of that,
Mhm.
as was, the permit holder for the species. So there's a permit holder in town with NHESP for monitoring the species that are out there. So that all goes into that, and that was part of, what's in the lease. So,
So before you guys, you have a motion to approve the conservation restriction concept for Squanicook Meadows as presented.
About Goodrich move to approve the conservation restriction concept for Squanicook Meadows as presented.
Is there a second?
Veronica Cal second.
Any further discussion?
I just want to say that the CR that you have, that's the template that NISA or NHESP provides. We use that template. And all the strike arts are there because it's just about ready for review with them. And the strikeouts are because they requested that. The things that we striked out were things that they would normally, it was in their template.
Okay.
And so we adjusted based on that. So just note that, that's all.
Sounds good. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Roll call vote.
Should I vote or should I abstain? I'm on the committee.
I should abstain.
You should have stayed.
Yeah, I will abstain then.
About Goodrich, aye?
And Laura Schiffer and I. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Selena.
Thank you, Selena.
Next step.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Thanks,
Thank
you
you.
too. Cool, all right, we jumped ahead there.
We're going backwards.
Yeah. Kind of excited to keep people on their
Now we
toes.
can go to the beginning.
4.1.
Just because maybe I missed it, we had no appointments, we had no hearings,
No.
we had no official personnel, so.
Not
we
to
got
my
4.1.
knowledge.
Yeah, just good, okay. 4.1. This was the designation of our Affordable Housing Trust trustees to be named as special municipal employees. I don't have a lot of background in this, other than we brought this up with these groups because it's, my memory's blanking on me.
Shouldn't all the elected officials and employees be municipal employees? What makes them
I can't
not?
remember this one, so I
Okay, so
apologize for-
on this one, this came about from all the looking at who are and who isn't special municipal employees.
Mhm.
And the Affordable Housing Trust trustees are not on that list. And so if you read the bylaw,
That's what it was, the bylaw.
you can, they are eligible to be special municipal employees, but they have to be named as such by the select board.
That's what it was.
So, so it's more for futures. Who knows who the trustees are? It is the positions that are special municipal employees. And so, the board voted at our last meeting.
Mhm.
The Affordable Housing Trust Board voted at our last meeting to ask that, the trustees of the Affordable Housing Trust be named as such.
Is there a motion?
About Goodrich move to add Affordable Housing Trust trustees as special municipal employees.
Is there a second?
Veronica Cal second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none.
Good
Roll call
memory.
vote.
You should abstain again because you're on that committee.
I am on that committee, but I'm appointed by this board to be on
All
that
right.
committee, so, I will abstain. Veronica Cal abstain.
About Goodrich, aye?
Laura Schiffer and I.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
I'd forgotten about that one. And I was like, oh crap, I didn't have anything in my head. Oh, crud.
It's okay, you
Too
can
many
have everything
things.
there, it's hard, believe
Yeah.
me. 4.2.
4.2 is going to be the order of operations for town election and town meeting with town council. Adam was not available tonight to join us, so we will do that on 3/17. As a whole, and I know we'll touch on this down the road, there's only going to be 2 ballot questions currently. They're not due till 3/23, so if you had one that you were feeling particularly passionate about, 3/17 would be the time to let me know. You know, we do have our warrant articles sort
So it
of
has to be posted by the 23rd?
correct
For the ballot.
for the ballot. I won't get too much into warrant articles, but I will again chat with the moderator well before town meeting, sort of get a lay of the land and order of operations from him in terms of working together with the moderator. I'm also going to do that the end of this week or early next week for special town meeting on 3/19. But we're looking like we're in pretty good shape. So more to come on 3/17 as I try to corral Adam to be available for us.
Okay. 4.3.
4.3 is a mandatory referral notice from our planning board to the Seaver Road Extension 3 lot definitive subdivision and stormwater management permit. I'll see if I have any documents to fill out for this.
They're all there.
There
it
I went
is.
through them.
Beautiful, okay.
What I
I
don't
noted-
see is the referral form. Did I miss it? The one that oh yeah, referral notice.
I noticed Highway had a comment on there too.
I'm sorry, what?
I noticed Highway had a comment on there too.
I didn't see that.
I didn't see Highway's comment.
Let me see what I
Am I imagining things? James Smith, signature. The comment about.
No.
Yeah.
You probably saw it, but I'm just saying I didn't.
I didn't see James Smith's
Oh my
comment.
goodness. Oh my.
Why,
I going too far.
where in the packet is it?
Now you're gonna make me find it.
planning board filing packet. Let me see if I can grab
I looked at, I went through all of these last night.
it. It's 77 pages. So.
We don't typically see the referrals
God,
from the other
maybe it's-
departments.
That's
It's the
why I
planning
noted.
board that,
That's why I noted it.
Oh, this is going on a while.
Sorry, I shouldn't have said anything. Oh, got to. Oh, no?
I would like to see his, because that was,
Who's-
this is a different plan than what came in. It was probably 2018, 2019. Unless it's in this packet, but I wouldn't expect it.
I knew you sounded familiar. I was on planning board.
You were, so was I, when this came in, and
Yeah, so who
I
is?
really, maybe I shouldn't say, but
Here it is right here.
this is
Thank you.
where
Which one
you
was it
at.
on?
It is
What
the
page?
last attachment. It's one of two.
the
In which
Seaver
one?
Road Planning Board.
It's the bottom one, yeah.
She wrote that, yeah. Okay, that.
James Smith said, I would request that the HMA binder course be no less than 2.5 inches
It was
of
just-
bituminous concrete, and the HMA service course be no less than 1.5 inches of bituminous concrete when constructing the roadway. I would like copies of all the paving slips for the roadway during construction, and would like to be notified when gravel is being installed, as well as paving for road inspections. Thank you, Mr. Jim Smith, 3/2/2026. I will share this on the screen. It's just-
Yeah,
I
I still can't find it.
That was my only comment, was just to make sure Highway was involved.
What about
because-
fire?
Oh, yeah, that was the only one I saw in there, so. As needed.
So
I just had seen
obviously
those in previous referrals. so-
it's transferred ownership since
Yes,
it was
it
at
is.
planning.
And this is the header document here.
It's up to you guys. I would make my same statement. I trust the
I
planning
trust the
board
board
to,
and our
I can't get
department,
involved in everybody's business here.
Well, I
Yes.
see.
and our department heads and their input.
Right,
That was what I was gonna add,
as long as they have all that,
as long as all the departments
yeah.
that need to be involved have had a chance to have their input.
And there's probably gonna have to be a public hearing on this. Stormwater,
Yeah, Monday,
Or
tentatively,
development.
Monday, April 20th or May 11th at 0:00 PM.
this is not,
It's a great time.
Referral notice, yes, so there will be a hearing. My guess is it isn't posted yet, but I don't know.
Yeah.
So yes,
What was
I
this
would
about?
trust the planning board on this one.
That's for
from
the,
you.
yeah, that's from the culvert. That's 4.5 on the agenda. We haven't gotten there yet.
Oh, 4.3, I don't know why this all got messed up together.
Do you want me to make a motion? Or no, you don't need a motion, sorry, you just need to comment.
Oh, well, is that the agreed consensus?
Yeah.
I don't see the comment form in here either.
It's the second to the last one. The last one is highways. The second to the last one has the blank on it. It's called referral notice, Seaver Road extension.
Yeah, because
So it looks just like that, but it's blank in there. It's the one above it, the one above it. That's the one you have to fill in.
Back,
Yeah.
right?
Yep, that's 4.4.
and this is ours?
Yeah.
Or are we just,
That's ours.
I think
Do a
that's
check
ours to
mark.
write on.
That's the one that Sabrina had the sign here for.
okay. We trust the planning board to make the correct decision?
We can put from necessary department heads.
Yeah.
I just noticed that, so I want to make that clear that I saw it.
Because I think they're working with Hoyle and Tanner right now, with stormwater management for the peer review, so there's some
You coming up?
procedures they're following, so,
It's really strange. This was like so many meetings
yeah.
from,
Way back.
Way
It was-
back.
It was a completely different plan. Completely different. So, because there's a guy in Lunenburg whose address is Seaver Road in Townsend, and his driveway is through there.
yes, and
To
our
get
post
to the
office
house
delivers
in
there.
Lunenburg, and our post office delivers to him. But he actually lives in
In
Lunenburg.
Lunenburg.
I can
And so
give you
his
a whole
mail is
post on
delivered
that.
to the end of that street, but they would not give permission for development there. It was a
Well,
whole
it was,
thing.
well, there's a lot of wetlands there,
Yeah,
a lot. And so this is, I like this plan, I do.
Yeah, there was a neighbor's son stopped by yesterday looking for the plan, so he was asking about it.
Mhm.
Said, sure, yeah.
Want to know what it is?
Yeah, you would.
Legitimate?
I'm adding public safety to that comment of, department heads.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Whatever you want. Fine with me. Refer it to the post office, apparently, too.
Check the mailbox out.
My mailbox is still up.
Here's that one, okay. All right, that was 4.3, so we'll go to 4.4.
4.4 is the senior center. They know we're in a hiring freeze. They're looking to hire a senior center van driver. This cost is paid for by the Lowell Regional Transit Authority, or LRTA. But they did want to just ask for the okay from us. I'm very appreciative of that, just as we are being fiscally responsible. There isn't a cost to the town, but just more for you to be aware of that this is someone that will be enrolling with the town, and wanted your okay to allow them to do this, so.
Sure.
Um,
No cost?
It's
Still
covered
service.
by the LRTA, yeah.
I value good to move to approve the hire of or posting first, right? Not a hire, yeah.
Yeah, I think posting.
I value good to move to approve the posting for for a senior center van driver contingent upon approval by the finance committee. Do they have it on today?
Why? No,
Because
Which finance
No.
committee?
has nothing to do with the finance.
No, but when we had that hiring
Hiring
freeze, all things were supposed to be run through FinCom to make a recommendation.
and then up to
And
the
then
select board.
select.
In that case,
Yeah,
that's
so
the motion.
So it is
Um,
contingent upon them saying.
The
okay,
recommendation. Let
recommendation.
me redo that entire motion. Start from
Not
scratch.
approval, but their recommendation.
I value Goodrich move to approve the posting for a senior center van driver to be paid through LRTA contingent upon recommendation by the finance committee. Is that better?
Veronica Gillis, second.
Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Veronica Cal, aye.
Value Goodrich, aye.
And Laura Schiffern, aye. 4.5,
4.5 is from me, so it is my asking the select board for an okay to have me send these letters of support off to MVP as well as CRMA. Make sure I explain the acronym out correctly. It's the culvert replacement municipal assistance grant for fiscal year 27. We're essentially applying for as many culvert replacement type grants as we can for the town. I'm working with colleagues at Weston and Sampson. They are excellent at compiling all the information. And they said, hey, sometimes a letter of support from your select board conservation planning really goes a long way to garner more support. So I haven't baked out the full copies of these yet, but it'd be something that I would send along to you to confirm out of session, really. It's pretty boilerplate. You know, we're not promising them the world. It's really that the select board feels passionately about trying to
Culvert
get
replacement.
culvert
Yes.
replacement and trying to get grant design work because it's so expensive. So really it's, I would probably send these to you to be signed out of session.
So we already applied for,
2 of them already, but we found a couple others to apply. We're gonna apply for every single one.
oh, okay. Were we denied?
We haven't heard back
Oh, we
yet,
haven't heard back. Okay,
but working with Weston and Sampson, they said, hey, let's keep applying.
okay.
And are they reviewing everything around town?
Yeah, some of these are nature-based solutions, some are full-on Highland Street culvert replacements, and then if we get the positive read on that, it may lead to a small bridge replacement as well. So we're really trying to strike and hit on some of these grants, so.
Okay,
Do you want a
so I
motion,
did
Mary?
that. Yeah, do a motion subject to final
yeah.
approval.
Valerie,
Oh,
oops, sorry. Valerie Goodrich moved to approve the town administrator draft a letter of support as presented for 2 grant projects for culvert replacement to be signed out of session.
Veronica Cal second.
Thank you very much.
And any further discussion?
Nope.
Hearing none, roll call vote.
Veronica Cal, aye.
Valerie Goodrich, aye?
Laura Schifrin, aye. Thank you. 4.6.
4.6 is Earth Day for
Earth Day.
Select Board. An annual program that happens at North Middlesex Regional High School, April 25th, 2026. I'll put this beautiful image up on Zoom here.
It's a raucous good time.
I think we did last year. The select board did have a booth last year. Of course, last year we were talking about the override at the booth. What would you like?
I can go and talk about culvert replacement if you want.
I don't have a problem standing there if you want someone to stand there and field.
We should
any
all be able to
strange-
go.
We've used it in the past for anything, any advocacy or answering questions
Yeah,
for
short
the
questions.
budget
Yeah.
or anything
And
that's
as long as we're
on
not
the
talking to each other,
warrant.
we're all good.
We walk around the other booths.
Sounds good.
Well, we
People
don't
tag us.
deliberate.
No.
I mean, we can
No.
talk to each other.
No, that's not what I meant. I meant discussing.
We're
Hopefully it's
not
not a
having
snow day.
meeting. And that is just before the annual and before the ballot questions.
Yeah.
The ballot vote and,
Yeah.
right, so.
And I did went through Karen to
We have
ask
to pay for
for, get specifications on how that
Yes.
ballot vote would roll through. If we got 5
Yeah,
members, what the
30
timing would be. So we should have that.
Yeah,
then-
that would
before
be
then.
good too.
What's that?
I did ask for clarification on how the ballot, the second ballot, first or second, the 5-member board would roll out. So I passed that to council through, Karen, just like in terms of how that would, if the 5-member board is voted in, how it would.
I thought we were gonna meet with town council
Yeah.
about that.
We are.
So I hope to have that by this, so if people ask, we can say, oh, this is what will happen afterwards if it gets approved.
Yeah, we'll present that well before then too.
Okay.
Yeah, because Earth Day is not intended to be
No,
what
no, no.
happens with a
No, it's
5-person
just
ballot.
for.
No.
questions.
No, it's just for questions that you can answer, because people have already asked me that question. What
Yeah.
happens if we get that voted for?
And
So-
you're welcome to talk about.
Well,
culvert
yeah, and are they all
replacement, too.
ready
It's
to
a
take out
very,
papers?
Earth
Yeah,
Day
they're
issue.
asking you questions.
All right,
Okay.
vote. Do we need
Yeah.
to vote?
Yes,
I got a good move to reserve a spot for Earth Day for the select board.
Veronica Cal second.
any further discussion?
Who's making the ask? Do you want me to make the ask or do one of you want to
Who
ask?
is,
What? For what?
It's
To
usually-
email them and reserve the
You do
spot. Okay, I just want to make sure I didn't want to like duplicate the work in case.
No,
So who's doing it?
Oh,
Karen.
awesome.
Okay,
Okay,
excellent.
fine with me. I just didn't want like, if you sent one and you're like, oh, I paid the $35 and then I paid the $35 and we're, you know, like I just want to make sure it's one person making the ask.
yeah. Otherwise,
Never
they're
know.
gonna get $35 from
They
four of
may,
us.
they may like that, yeah.
And request locations.
Oh.
Well, see, now I'm glad we're debating this.
How,
So you can look at the
oh,
map,
Nelson did that last year.
and well,
This is the time to discuss. We're here. We can
okay, I
deliberate
would
this.
want to be on the end, not the far end, but more towards where the
The
roads
drive
go
is-
in and out.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Um,
that would be appropriate. And then if nobody's looking for us, we're right there,
Yeah.
right? We're not
Yeah.
hiding. We want to be
Wherever,
transparent.
you know?
I'd like to see everybody that
Yes,
day.
that's the buzzword of the year.
All 9,132 people come that day. What else?
That's it.
You need to vote.
Roll call vote.
Veronica Cal, aye.
Probably good at Jai.
Laura Schiffer and I.
Excellent.
Can't wait. 4.7?
4.7 is a contract with our friend, Mr. Solomon, who is the attorney to assist us with the TCAM negotiation processes, if you will. Myself and Lori had a nice chat with him on Friday, which feels like an eternity ago with all the warm weather since then, right? Doesn't it feel like forever? But, you know, I suspect this is a pretty boilerplate contract for us to work with attorney Bill Solomon in terms of reviewing the agreement with TCAM.
They look the same.
Very,
Except for
very
dates.
similar. Yeah,
Except for the dates.
yeah.
We had the meeting, he explained what when you're looking at the contract, at those that are like fill in the blank parts, like the date and how much per hour, that kind of thing, is all in there. Yeah, it was fine with the fact that we are okay signing it now. We can go on to TCAM, and I'll give a report on the TCAM meeting.
Can I ask
in the
how,
liaison part.
where this comes out for funding? Where this comes out of the
Legal
budget?
fees.
Legal fees.
Yeah,
Town council.
So here is the question, number 5. Tell me about number 5 in this contract.
So.
That was the only question I had on.
Yeah, there's a world that we invite, it was Dresser
Yeah.
Media Communications, I think was the
yeah.
name.
Mhm.
It's a gentleman who runs an organization down the South Shore, and really, with all the great work that TCAM's doing, and they're just bringing on some new board members, it might be an opportunity for them to kind of work with someone who has some sort of new age ideas and new ways to integrate the program to be available, and just really enhance what's going on. So I think that would be a really nice item to incorporate using like an outside consultant to deepen the,
He did not recommend that we pay for it.
So, well, read the second sentence then, please.
It's that TCAM.
Secondarily, if needed, and absent TCAM directly retaining such a consultant, the town may decide after further discussions with the attorney to directly retain such PEG access consultant.
Yeah, if TCAM doesn't, but it's only an if. The option is there. It doesn't say we will.
so part of the
I'm
agreement,
good with the first sentence. I'm not good with the second sentence.
part of the agreement with TCAM would be, part of our agreement with them would be, you need to work with XYZ consultant. If that's a deal breaker, then it sort of resets everything. But
Let me-
I
That's what I'm
can,
reading here.
Maybe
Um,
I should comment now in reference to
Yeah.
TCAM. Because TCAM has met. TCAM now has a full working board who, I met with them and facilitated with Dave as the director. And it was Mary Roberts, who is the treasurer, Lisa Luand, who is the vice president. The president is vacant. He's just left. And Yasmir Santiago was appointed by, or voted in by Lisa and Mary. And this was, I'm losing my days, Monday.
yesterday.
Yeah,
It's Tuesday,
yesterday. So, that meeting went really well in that they organized themselves. Vice President and Treasurer are the same, and, Yasmir is now the clerk, and she actually started taking the minutes yesterday. During that, I told them about the meeting with Bill Solomon, and I sent you the agenda that I ended up sending, which had the information on Eric Dresser there.
Mhm.
Plus that, the 2 links that he had sent to us, meaning Kieran, myself, and Bill Solomon, for them to see the work that he's done. He actually runs this type of system himself, plus he also serves municipally himself, and he does help other municipalities make their presentation to the towns. No fee, there was no money discussed, so that would have to come between them.
Yeah, between TCAM and,
I have no problem with even writing into the contract that they need to, I don't know anything about this Eric Dresser because we haven't been provided that information. However, I don't think the town should be directly retaining that consultant, and that's what I read here. So if you strike that second sentence, I'm good with it. I mean, I'm even good with you commanding that they, putting it in the contract that they have to do that, or we don't sign it.
Yeah, I have the.
But that's not the way this reads to me, is what it comes down to. And we give all that funding, the PEG access funding, to TCAM. So
They have the money
unless,
to do it.
unless we are going to keep back funds from the PEG access part
yeah,
to cover this, I am opposed to that second sentence. That's all.
so you're,
Other than that, I'm good.
you're
That's not
opposed to
the intent.
the secondarily if
Yes.
needed and absent. Secondarily, if needed and absent TCAM directly retaining such a consultant, the town may decide
That's right.
I noted the May.
after further discussions with the attorney to retain such PEG access consultant.
Right, so maybe you won't, but maybe you will, and then it's a question of,
How
so
do you
how
pay
is
for
it
it?
being paid for? And
Get
so
rid of it
I
then.
would just strike that. I mean, if you want to make the words different so that, or using PEG access funds that are not transferred to, that would be okay too with
It's
me.
supposed to come out of
As
their
long
budget.
as we know where it's coming from, but that's not what that second sentence says, that it comes out.
So maybe we'll give that feedback to Bill, to Attorney Solomon, and say, this is what we're feeling. Can we rework this sentence just so that the town is not responsible in the event
Okay.
that you find some other way to make it inclusive of PEG access fund is going to cover this in the event that TCAM does not. So we'll,
Yeah,
Because that was the intent.
But
More
other
than that,
than
was the
that,
intent.
I'm good with this.
Yeah.
It's just that sentence just kind of
Could I
jumped
have
out.
a motion with that correction?
I value good to move to approve the legal services agreement with Attorney William Solomon for TCAM, with revisions as discussed for Section 5, and authorize the interim town administrator, Kieran Meehan, to sign out of session on the select board's behalf.
I'm deciding if I want to second that or if I want the motion to specifically state what was discussed.
would you rather it come back on 317?
I would rather it come back on 317, yes. So
Or would
let's.
you-
Unless you want, I can be
It's
specific
just
if you
a
want.
week.
Or be specific?
I'll be specific. You ready? Then we
Yeah,
don't have to do it again.
please, because I'm,
I value
TCAM's
good.
meeting again on Monday.
Okay.
And we're meeting with him on Friday. I have it in my calendar that we're meeting with Solomon on Friday,
Okay,
and TCAM has
Okay.
asked for it to
Okay.
be in that
Okay.
meeting.
Yeah,
I value Goodrich move to approve the legal services agreement with Attorney William Solomon for TCAM with the following edit. Removal of the last sentence of Section 5. Or, is that fine?
or modifying the last
Modifying.
section of
Let-
Section 5 to provide a funding source should the town choose to retain the PEG access consultant.
Unless you just want to say it's TCAM's funding source. It's gonna come from TCAM. It's
No,
not
go
gonna
with
come from
my
ARPA.
motion.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah,
So that, and authorize the interim town administrator, Kieran Meehan, to sign out of session on the select board's behalf.
Veronica Cal second.
Oh, sorry.
Any further discussion? Thank you. Roll call vote,
Veronica Cal, aye.
Are you gonna try?
and Laura Schiffer and I.
All right.
Thank you.
4.8 is review and discuss special town meeting for March 19th, which is quickly approaching next week. We are going to have the signs put up for folks to see as they drive. What's even better is there's sun out, so the solar batteries hopefully will retain a
Last
charge,
till next week.
and everyone can see those more nimbly. Let me see if I have some documents to bring up for this. That was 4.8. I do. So I have draft motions here. I believe I printed those out for Lori, and I'll bring them up on the screen here for those to see. We have track changes on too, so it might be a little.
I don't, 4.8 right here.
Yes, ma'am. So, you know, Adam gave me his feedback, and then also the, you know, comments you'll see on the right-hand side from him. You know, he just sort of cleaned up my wording more than anything else. But as we look at these articles, you know, the first one is, you know, the town reviewing, you know, the potential acquisition of ClearGov, you know, for just under $42,000, and utilizing free cash to onboard and then have the first year of subscription for that tool. There wasn't a lot of wording change there. Second article was the OPEB study for using free cash for $4,750 for actuarial services to conduct a retiree health insurance liability study for the town. Fire away on questions as you see fit.
Okay, instead of free cash, is it possible to use the fund from the property transfer?
We do not believe so. That is for infrastructure related items.
And this is not infrastructure?
It is not.
Okay, all right, thank you.
There is an argument, having thought about this afternoon, that, were you asking about the OPEB study,
Yes.
about Article 1?
Yes,
There's a-
Article 2.
Yeah, there's a world that Article 1 is considered town infrastructure because it's a software, it's a tool,
Article 1 is free cash. I'm good with that.
but you could use,
Oh, you could?
for Article 1, I think.
Well, then let's find out about that.
So I gotta check with Adam.
And this is related to our budget discussion later too, also, correct? Article 1. So you want me
Yes,
to bring that
yes.
up later or now? Later? Okay.
Yeah, we'll focus on the motions
Okay.
for now. So food for thought
Okay.
there. Article 2 is truly a free cash. It's not a lot of money. It's a
Yeah,
discovered study for us to use. Article 3 for legal services for stabilization fund. Adam just cleaned up the wording a bit here. There is some commentary on the right there. And his notes are, while appropriations to and from a special stabilization fund require only a majority vote, the establishment of the fund itself and any subsequent alteration of its purpose is a 2/3 vote. He notes that there's, you do have the question, and if it's deemed acceptable by the moderator, you would do voting twice on Article 3, one vote creation, and then the second on transferring monies into said fund.
so do we need 2 motions for that? I mean, if we're doing 2 votes, don't we need 2 motions?
It's a good question. I haven't gone back to him yet.
It's easier enough to split up though, like I move the town to vote to establish a special appropriation fund, I move that the town
And the
vote to
second
transfer
one.
from free cash to some of that.
Right.
It's easy enough to, if he says it's okay. to-
Yeah.
Then we should do 2, okay.
2 motions individually. So it'd be like, motion 3, then 3B, just for legal statements. I'll put that in there. Article 4 is your police union fiscal year 26. Categories are using ARPA funding for a 1-year, agreement with the town's police bargaining unit. I'll get into this later when we touch on my PowerPoint for how I sort of came up with an idea to depict this. Similar with Article 5, this is now the number has been whittled down to $197,000. Initially, it was 327 for an override for the taxpayers to decide both at this special town meeting, then as a ballot question for your annual town election to exceed the levy limit. And we can all break out how those costs go. Article 6 relates to the Squanicook Meadows Holly's Playground discussion earlier, authorizing the select board to enter into a new 50-year lease agreement to align with the conservation restriction language that's been set forth by the deed already. And we're acknowledging that there are existing water resources there already. And hopefully the town allows us to set the terms and conditions via the select board with the leaseholder TESA, Townsend Ashby Youth Soccer Association.
So this is for the lease, just for the area that was not in the hash marks on the map that we saw before. Okay.
Article 7 was previously a Board of Health article. They had, after submission, they had decided, please do not take any action. So we just have a motion that says, I move to take no action on Article 7. The next articles are related to the town clerk, codifying the role of the town clerk, special town meeting account replenishment. Adam didn't make a lot of changes here. He says, if the select board does not support Article 8, who's sort of making the motion? And I was going to chat with the moderator on that for how we sort of want that vehicle to go from that side of things.
Usually it's whoever brought the motion.
That's my suspicions. I'll chat with the moderator to say, do you want the town clerk to bring this forward? Because they sort of authored the motion. It's their motion.
But it wasn't a citizen petitioned article, was it?
No.
Elected official.
Elected, yeah. Articles 10 and 11 are technical code corrections.
And what about Article 9?
Article 9 is the $20,000 from free cash to replenish the special elections account. There's about $8,000 or so in there right now.
Does the same thing apply, like for the type of account? Did we figure that out?
Yeah, I mean, I thought that
Is it the same as the legal fees account? Like, does it need?
should it be a stabilization account? Is
But
what I'm
I guess
asking.
that's
That's the question.
TBD.
Yeah, I would TBD that, and I would likely ask the town clerk on town meeting floor to share some background on that. I think that would be better described by because they own the article. Not trying to table it on you, but
No, it's fine.
it's the town clerk's article. I don't want to misrepresent it for you. So,
Big idea.
yeah, I mean, they're very, he's very diligent. So, he may have a great explanation for what he's seeing in his,
And town council will be at our meeting.
correct. And town council will be present. Article 10 is us and our references to Board of Selectmen to be corrected to 2 words, select board.
2 words.
2 words. That's the way it's written. So we have a variety of places to change this.
All of our letterhead is 1 word.
Yeah, I know Sabrina's been slowly triaging them point by point. Even if you look at the Zoom right now, it says talking select board, 1 word. So we'll get there. Article 11 is just a code correction for some of the wording. Not much has changed there. That was my quick run through of the motions. Not a lot of corrections from Adam there, which was nice. So I don't know if you have a motion per se here.
I think
I just wanted to
next week, we just have to divide them all up.
Mhm.
Easy enough.
Are we good with that discussion? Yeah.
So we'll have a brief discussion on that next week too, just to see who's doing what.
Yes.
Yes.
Sounds good to me.
And we'll talk about timing next week when we do the meeting announcements.
Do you want me to present the police PowerPoint now, just because we just touched on that? Would that be helpful?
Yep,
Sure.
Just
part of the
to,
special town meeting.
yeah, I won't belabor it too long, but let's see here. So we have some wonderful new logo images for the town, which is great. Thanks, Val. I like our bald eagle and our,
I started this for Nelson a long time ago, and then when Karen came around, I was like, oh, someone who likes PowerPoint.
Yeah.
I just I'll give it to you.
so, you know, this, I think is a sharp, I don't know if I printed this out. I did not for you, Lori, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
But, you know, sort of what we're doing here is, you know, we're discussing the Townsend Police Department and contract fiscal presentation. Again, I'll take any feedback on wording and anything like that along the way. You know, Townsend and Townsend's Police Bargaining Unit have been on a contract with the officers since fiscal year 25. Essentially, I'm going to share with you some background on the marketplace for officers, both patrolmen and sergeants. The Collins Center study references that. Article 4 is an expense and utilization of ARPA funding. Article 5 is the totality of a budget ask and a breakdown of expense buckets impacted by passing a town meeting vote and subsequent ballot vote. That's important to remember. There's a ballot vote after this town meeting vote. So, you know, patrol officer salary by department, you know, we picked on Groton, Ayer, Harvard, Pepperell, Lunenburg, Ashburnham, Ashby, Lancaster, and Littleton. Important to note with Littleton, this is from their fiscal year 25 or 24 numbers. So they're just out of date for quite some time. But you can sort of highlight here where Townsend falls compared to other marketplace Collins Center study numbers that were shared with me. I have not verified these numbers, but I received them from the police chief and I'm feeling very confident in his numbers. You know, we're near the bottom of the barrel here.
The bargaining unit also provided those numbers, the bargaining unit and the.
Yeah, and this is the average. It's not a median, it's an average of where we fall for our patrol officer salaries by department. Something I'll mention on the town meeting floor, especially as I shift to the next slide here. On average, it costs us about $125,000 to train and get someone on board for year one. We're at a place now where we're losing officers frequently after a handful of years because, you know, they're going to a place where they're going to make 20K more, and their drive might be the same. So I think with some of these adjustments for our police officers, it will truly retain officers, be more competitive, and, you know, really solidify the department for years to come. As you know, we're you know, they're an exception to our hiring freeze rate now because of, you know, regularly losing officers. There's a chance we might lose another by month end. So, you know, we're just in a tough spot. You know, again, salaries by sergeants, we're at the bottom, you know, tough. Warrant Article 4, this is using ARPA funds. So Article 4 asks Townsend to fund a singular year agreement with the police bargaining unit. This covers July 1, 2025 to June 30, 2026. Officers are currently working without an agreement, but continue service to the town while negotiations have been ongoing. We are asking the townspeople to pay back wages and then update the wage rates for the remainder of the year. We've asked for $53,500. I think I gotta take out this right here, but the math is a little bit different, and I'll say this on town meeting floor because of the timing. So timing, we're a month behind where we thought we were gonna be because of the delay. So the numbers have shifted a little bit. There's a world that it comes in under because, again, we lost 2 officers along the way. So we're gonna kind of hold the number at 53.5, and then I'll work with the police chief for making up any ground plus or minus along the way. And I'm happy to share that with townspeople. They say, oh, the math doesn't line up. You're right, it doesn't, but we're a month behind where we were supposed to be. And, you know, there's been shifts in enrollment, shifts in overtime, things like that have changed. So it's not a perfect dollar for dollar here. Warrant Article 5 relates to fiscal year 27, new wage rates and impact to police budget. This is a significant jump. This is really the corrective action being taken by town residents to say, we want our police department to have competitive wages in the marketplace. You see the jumps. It's just a smidge under $197,000. This was after some sharpening of the pencil with regards to the patrolmen and sergeants, the SRO, overtime, holiday pay. And really, it's fiscal year 27 is a corrective measure being taken by this agreement to bring our officers up to a competitive marketplace. Again, the math is not perfect. It's still balanced on shifting from 15 officers. And do we have 15 officers? We've lost a couple officers. You know, it's never going to be perfect math for us here. And it's really once, you know, the rubber meets the road with officers and who's working for us at a given time. So just important to, you know, be aware of that in case anybody asks you why it isn't exactly dollar for dollar. The next is what the impact of $197,000 override is to the, you know, assessed value of the taxpayers in town. You know, if your house is worth an assessed value of $450,000 with $197,000 override, your tax bill goes up annually $54. So if we do the back of the napkin math, what's that?
5 by 4.
$13.
Yeah, that's good, 15,
Yeah,
so,
$13.50 or so. You know what? I'm never going to tell people how to spend their money, but I think it's a worthy investment for residents to ensure you have great first responders, and we don't train them and then lose them. Like, that's not a sustainable practice. It's so much more expensive to keep losing people than it is to, you know, retain them at a better rate. So, and you start to see some other, I just picked, you know, 3 values. These are the ones I've been routinely using in presentations: $450, $650, and $850. You know, you're less than $20 a quarter, you know, at a home that's worth $650,000.
I think the average cost in town is around $450 to $470.
Yeah, it's in that ballpark.
Yeah. So most people would see that lowest.
You know, I did try to illustrate sort of the process here, which is if approved at, or if you approve Article 4 at special town meeting, police would receive back wages and a 4% wage increase for this current fiscal year. The approval of Article 4 means Article 5 is eligible to be reviewed. And if that's approved, then you go to the override ballot at the town meeting, at the town election. If that passes, that new wage rate begins July 1st, 2026. In fiscal year 28, the agreement is a 2% wage increase.
So it'd be covered by our normal budgeting.
Correct.
I think that's really important. Question like, no, that's not part of the override. It's
Yeah.
just for 1 year, just for 1 year.
And maybe I can, you know, share that more on the town meeting floor. I can sort of retool and again, open the feedback here if you want me to, you know, connect in any finer points here. And then, you know, last but not least is in the event that we don't pass, you know, if we don't pass, you know, residents don't, you know, authorize placing Article 5 on the annual election ballot, we go back to the table with the town and the police to work on a revised agreement. If you pass just Article 4, they would receive their back wages plus the 4%, and they would carry that forward. And again, we go back to the table to keep trying to figure out an agreement with that group. Again, I'll email this out to folks in case there's questions. I think I shared it with Chief Sartell and maybe Veronica, because she had been working with me on some of the numbers too. But I'll forward it along to everyone.
Take a look at it, poke all holes in it that we can.
Yeah, I mean, and this is the time now to poke holes in it rather than have me get drawn and quartered on the town meeting floor.
Can I just say something budget related?
Sure.
More, not really to this, but that first point that we would go back to the bargaining table. Do we need 2 budgets to present on Saturday? One, if the override passes, which is what we've been working with, and another one if it doesn't.
I guess is that part of the budget discussion?
Perhaps. I hadn't thought about that really. I've been really optimistic that the override would pass.
Yeah, I hadn't thought of that either.
I wonder if finance has.
I think
They may.
I think maybe it might be worth preparing it. We won't know until the 27th of April whether or not the budget that we're working
We
on.
will need to know it, the
is
option
the
B
one-
before.
Yeah.
I have some
Right.
thoughts too, so, but I think it's part
But
of the budget
it's really,
discussion.
it's really 3 budgets then, because if our Article 4 doesn't pass,
Well, that we wouldn't, yeah.
Yeah, that's a whole different ballgame. Because then we're back, we have to have FY 25 salaries and values in there. Okay, thank you.
yeah, that would add some other wrinkles to it. And
Yeah, I hadn't really thought about.
there was a rumor that I'll get to this later on in old business, but we do technically have a balanced budget. So I was trying to bail on having a budget summit, and I think one of the FinCom members was receptive to that idea, to not having it. But I'm gonna try to catch them at their meeting tonight
Yeah.
before I agree to that. I think that,
Okay,
yeah,
It's
so,
essentially last year's, yeah, budget topic, sorry.
yeah. So that's how that presentation will look, that night. Again, I'll email this out, so then send me back any feedback, and, we'll try to collaborate on that. We'll print out these slides and bring these. Maybe we'll print 75 copies, because it's a couple pages, we're not killing the printer. Just
Double
some,
sided.
yeah, just some materials are available for folks if they want to sit there and say, what are you talking about?
so you're printing them as slides.
I would probably put 3 on a page,
Yeah, that's what I usually do.
just because I think it'd be more
It's
sensitive
easier
to
to see.
printing, and then someone could take notes along the way if they have a question.
Okay,
Um,
sounds good.
Last year, the presentations were really hard to see, so hopefully this is better. Because bolder colors and brighter, we'll see when we get there.
Yeah.
And I think last year was just so small too, so that looks better.
Yeah, to me, like a slide should have less information and
Yes.
speak more.
Speak more.
Talk to it,
Yeah.
Less on the slides, more
That's just-
talking.
presentation stuff.
Oh, my college professors, less on your slides, more talking.
So that we're in old business.
So you can be heard.
Mhm.
Okay.
Sometimes it's fun, like a soccer coach voice, just yell out into the crowd and go from there.
If you could,
Yeah, oh, I can.
we might let you practice.
All right. When I yell at the dog, you get scared.
Yeah, last year my family said, why are you using a microphone, Mom? Use your voice. I was like, oh, what does that mean?
So 5.1, if you're ready for me to jump ahead.
Yeah.
Let's see here. We're in old business.
We need to get these clocks changed.
Oh, yeah, that is sometime.
I currently only have 2 draft ballot questions. And I
That's all we are.
poached, adding going from 3 to 5 members, that came from town council and the town clerk. And the second is the override for police.
Mhm. I think those are the only 2.
That is all I have right now.
There's specific wording for that override. It was in that document I sent around. The exact,
Yeah. I haven't
it's
read
there,
that, so.
when you get there.
This
Copy and
isn't,
paste it.
yeah, this isn't to say that we won't, again, depending how the budget review goes with FinCom and select board.
And the school budget
In
votes tonight.
school, yeah, I mean, this doesn't mean we won't have an override question for other things. But currently, my ask from Sabrina said, hey, make sure you get the review and discussion of the current ballot questions in front of folks. So that's where we are currently. So more to
Good.
come, I think, so.
Yep.
I don't have an update for you yet on 5.2, just because I'm holding numbers sort of static since we last touched on it. So I don't have an update in regards to annual town meeting warrant articles at this time. 317, I expect to have more information for you, if that's okay.
Okay.
In 5.3, was a Valerie topic before.
Okay, so I threw a bunch of stuff in there for y'all.
Than was there.
Yeah. So, I reached out to 4 different recruiters and I received 2 pretty prompt responses. One with kind of, one fee, which is about $15,000, and the other one with a range of fees from 5, which is like a little bit of help, to 20,000, which is a lot of help. So obviously, I stuck in there I'm not gonna pay $5,000 for a brochure example, because I made one in about an hour, if that's what people are looking for. So, I guess the question is, I haven't heard anything back from the other two, recruiters yet. How does the select board feel about, I mean, I'm really, we're looking at $15,000 to $20,000.
Yes, we are.
And so the one thing about this too is the timelines definitely stretch out if we add a recruiter into the picture. We're looking like 4 months probably.
I think that's okay. I think it's important to have a recruiter. I do. That's my own opinion. Well, we can do what Townsend always does. We have a professional services line in the budget. I don't know where it stands right now, but I would do that and do a municipal transfer at the end.
And there's not a ton of money there, but you
I
could
know.
wiggle around at the end if you had to.
That I'm okay with. I know that there are monies in the housing, that haven't been spent. So that could cover some of it. I don't have the BVA up.
Yeah.
But, we could look there and see. But I think that it is important to have,
This is one example of a site, just for those who are looking at home. MRI,
yeah, that's one.
I think was on your list.
Mhm.
So the two that I received responses back from were, sorry, let me just make sure I get it out here. MRI and Collins.
Those were the two that I saw. And I think it's important for them to vet the candidates, pull in this is what I would want, for them to pull in the resumes, to vet them, to bring them to the committee, to, they could do a preliminary interview even. Let the committee interview.
So all those services are different costs.
Correct.
If you look through
Under
everything.
MRI.
Yeah.
They are. Under Collins, it looked like it was more one size fits all.
Pull that up real
I
quick.
don't remember it
15?
being,
It's the, yeah, that one.
Yeah, that was the 15.
I'm looking for their clock.
We've had a lot of, services with Collins in the past.
This is not coming up well on the
Yeah.
thing.
We did here.
So I saw it as 15,000.
Yeah.
7,500 when you start, 7,500 at the end, basically. And so I would want pretty much the tasks that Collins said, but I'm good with MRI too. I mean, I don't have a hard and fast, it must be this consultant or that. And I would probably wait another week for the two, maybe send them a poke and say, are you, if they're not, then they're not. But, we would like to have them by the end of the week to discuss next week, Tuesday.
Are you good with that?
I would also
15?
like them to.
Well, yeah, go ahead.
To check references. MRIs was really pretty robust in the reference checking thing, if I remember right.
So that would probably, if it's not in there, it'll be an additional fee.
I know, like, as a select board member in my town, we had good luck with MRI. The person who's actually lives in the town, so he made sure it was a good person we got, and we ended up with Jason. So that was pretty
Do you
promising.
remember how much that cost you at that time?
It was about $15,000.
It's probably 20 now, I guess. If you look at the MRI one, it kind of had, they have two price ranges. Sorry, Karen, I mean to.
This one right here?
Yeah.
It is worth, I think I would also encourage the committee to sit with MRI via Zoom or in person and say, this is what we really hope for in a TA.
Mhm.
And I think they need to hear that because that may roll into a more thorough job description or, you
So
know,
that
things of that nature.
relates to, the one thing I would say is like when I was going through this is right off the bat, like I said, I was like, we're not doing the $5,000 thing because I literally we could do that ourselves. If it was like a brochure and a nice thing, it's about, I looked through when we last posted versus what other towns are posting now, and we have to change the way we post it. It was 3 pages of job descriptions, details. We have to change our approach to posting in the vacancy announcement, I think.
Well,
just-
that would be the consultant.
Yeah, it would be.
doing that.
That,
And
so the
think
thing I
that's
took away
okay.
from it is if we decided not to go with a consultant, we still had to change that because it was just too, nobody's gonna read through it all. You can link to the full job description. And the other part too, I kind of indicated in there, and this is something that if we're gonna go with a consultant, I'd want to realize the fact that our budget is changing and the TA is literally also going to be responsible for things that we're moving from the budget.
Yes, like personnel.
And so, I mean, my little like mock-up thing, I put that in there because that's. So my question is do we have this wiggle room in the budget?
It's tough to come up with 20K.
Yeah.
When we get to the budget topic, there's about $34,000 in unspent free cash currently, but that was me not advocating for ClearGov this year.
Yep.
So I don't know the answer on ClearGov for, is it a resource of infrastructure that we could use?
And like, if we look at the BVAs, we're probably, I think we're spending down.
Yeah, we're
not gonna have a lot left over.
Tight line, but I can get that update and you don't have to make a declaration now, maybe for 317, I can get you an updated report so you can.
I'd like to look
Okay.
through, I need to look through that before I vote to spend $15,000 or $20,000 because
My reason for doing this is the past 2 TA searches have not resulted
Oh, yeah.
in a TA
I have-
that stays.
I completely, if I, you know,
And I think we'd be making a mistake, in my opinion, not to do that this
Yeah,
time around.
I completely agree with the rationale. I just want to make sure we actually know where we're going to get the funds from. That's my problem.
So is it, can we get it from the, same place we could get ClearGov from?
Infrastructure.
I don't think this could be infrastructure.
Yeah, I don't think this is-
That's a stretch.
Well, it kind of fits.
No, this is a hiring,
That's stretching the,
Infrastructure.
Yeah,
especially because,
Depends
It's
on
a-
how
it's a
you
thing
look at it.
yeah,
I would almost, I mean, I'm not trying to delay this on you. I know there's a timeline involved. That committee should sit and decide what they want
so
as a
so
group.
that was the next part of my conversation
we
was.
already said who the committee was.
Yeah,
gonna
no,
You did.
so our first meeting is Friday at 2 p.m. And it's just a basic meeting. We're gonna go through policies and procedures from legal. And we have some mandatory forms we have to sign and describe what those are for anybody watching. We were looking for some guidance on our next steps. If you want us to be involved with this, I think that's fine.
Cause I think that group should help you. Because if you don't go with the inclusive MRI experience and you go with Collins, it might be more work for that committee. So they should sort of set the table in terms of what you're willing to put into it and what you're hoping the outcome is.
Well, I guess for me and my direction to the committee, and we need a vote on this,
Yeah.
is that I would want a consultant who posts to the specifications of what the town wants
Mhm.
in a TA, which is what you're talking about, that the consultant pulls in the interviews and does a pre-screening, that they provide the people that they think
So
would be a
what-
good fit to the
There's a couple
committee.
things that it's gonna be a little bit different than what your exact request is. Like usually the committee still sees most of the resumes. Like it's not like, we don't want them to automatically filter out them necessarily, the way it was described to me. Like unless it's like an extreme outlier, like, you know,
Well, we got the ones from Kansas City who could only be a remote TA.
Yeah,
So
that-
do you
but I'm-
want that one? or
no,
not?
of course not,
Um,
of course not. But that's,
So,
Yeah, we're
so
done.
when, I would want you guys to look at viable candidates.
oh, of
That's what I would want.
Mhm.
And then I would want, once you've decided, maybe you get, I don't know, 8 or 10 to look at. Once you go through and decide, okay, this is our set that we're gonna talk to. And then, how you're calling it down, and then give it to them to do, a further, look at
Vetting?
references.
I just need to know where the money's coming from before I can agree to it, that's all. I have to figure that out.
Well, we're gonna keep it on the agenda till you have
But
someone.
no, so we are meeting Friday, just to get, so we have the committee, we know who's on it, who's gonna be setting agendas
Mhm.
and all that type of stuff.
So I guess my motion would be to use a company, and I'm okay with the
Should we wait
committee
until we know?
deciding what that company is. Contingent on us figuring out where in the budget it's funded. That would be my motion.
Do you wanna just do that next Tuesday?
Well, if
Okay.
they're meeting,
I mean, that's,
I mean, she can still pass that message along. I mean, I served on the last two, and I would recommend that you not do what was done before.
well, I looked through and like, the questions were, wow, some of them sometimes, I think it was really, I think it can be more efficient. That was my takeaway,
Yeah.
and
I'd
more
say
precise.
Meet Friday and then cycle back feedback
Yeah.
for
what
317
your
and then a marching
feedback
order
is.
for MRI Collins. And I'll align with you, Val, to sort of see, we have,
If the,
potentially there's some funding here, not to exceed, 20K, whatever,
right.
okay,
to work it out that way.
And I think we can do that.
Yeah.
I think to get a candidate that's gonna stay a while, I almost think we have to.
and I'll talk to, I just took their initial proposals, I'll reach out to both of them and actually have an in-person conversation with them, just to, the future, because the landscape is, okay, never mind, I'm gonna remain optimistic. It, yeah, I'm optimistic.
Well, you can always go Kansas City remote.
5.3 is on for 317. 5.4.
5.4, we discussed with JJ Energy Solutions last week, and this is just your approval of the proposal for me to sign the agreement with Earthlight EV charging for the Senior Center Library parking lot, and authorize me to sign that out of session. You have 5.5, which is also an article for the EV charging station here at the town hall. And sort of carry that forward. As a total, that would be $1,000 for each to investigate the next steps of the project and getting us into the grant line and determining, the suitability of each space and what the next steps could be for the town to get these EV charging stations set up.
Is there a motion?
You guys all want?
We did discuss that.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Just want to make sure everybody had gotten a chance to review the more
Oh, yeah.
information part of things.
I would do them each in
Yep.
2 individual motions
Correct.
for each space.
I value Goodrich move to approve the proposal for Earthlight EV charging station at the Senior Center Library parking lot and authorize the interim town administrator, Kieran Meehan, to sign out of session on the select board's behalf.
Is there a second?
Veronica, second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. Roll call vote.
Veronica Cal, aye.
Value Goodrich, aye.
Laura Schifrin, aye. 5.5.
I value Goodrich move to approve the proposal for the Earthlight EV charging station for the town hall parking lot and authorize the interim town administrator, Kieran Meehan, to sign out of session on the select board's behalf.
Veronica Cal, second.
Any discussion?
This is the one
Yeah.
you wanted more
Roll call
info
vote.
on, right?
Pardon me?
This is the one you wanted more information on?
Yeah, and I went through the proposal. I wanted to see the proposal that was similar to, so this one is in the 1,500 range. I don't have the thing up here. The one at the library is 5,500.
That's because of the run of the work.
Yes, the closeness of the electricity. So I think it would be, if in fact the grant for 50K for each, 150K for the one, 50K for the other. I think it's well worth doing this. Now, is this infrastructure or is this equipment?
This is infrastructure.
Ha, okay, then in that case, I think it's worth having one at the library where you have access to the library and the trails right around there. And one here where you have access to the rail trail.
And a potentially future fitness court. So you could be working out while you're EV charging.
Is, if we take it from that fund, does it require
Town meeting vote.
town meeting vote?
Correct.
I think
It does,
so,
yeah.
Just wanted to specify.
Mhm.
And is there room for that on the town meeting warrant?
If we put a
maybe.
special town meeting in the
Before.
annual town meeting
Townsend loves a
warrant,
town meeting with no
there
town meeting.
there
so.
could be.
Just an infinite loop of town meetings.
Well, the advantage to doing a special town meeting is you can access the funds immediately in
Right.
this fiscal year.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why we always did the free cash articles in that special town meeting.
Yeah, well, I think it's good actually, because I don't think we talked about that sale of properties fund enough as relates to the budget, so it's probably good that we have that
Yeah,
possibility.
so I just think it's a good idea.
Okey dokey.
So,
So we can
is there
vote,
a motion?
there is,
And did I second it?
You did.
you
All
did,
right, Ben.
and we discussed just now.
Okay.
We're just moving along. You're not used to the
All right.
pace.
It's the light outside, we're doing good. All right, Veronica Cal, aye.
Good at Jai?
And Laura Schiffern, aye. Okay, so you got those to sign, and you'll let us know next week
Mhm.
about the special within this.
Yes, special within a special, special within an annual, yeah.
Yeah.
Special within the annual.
Because I bet there's a timing and posting and such, so.
But we can,
Okay. We can do that next week.
I may have an empty warrant article.
yeah, I thought
Placeholder?
there was a
I
placeholder.
left a couple placeholders in
Okay,
there
I
just for.
can think of some uses for that.
Yeah, I bet you
The CR.
can.
So anyway, okay,
Yeah.
moving on.
So, I mean, can you just update those warrant
Mhm.
things for us for next
Roll
week?
it in, yeah.
Oh, I just
Okay.
closed SharePoint accidentally.
And,
Where are we
all
at?
right, so that was unanimous on 5.5. 5.6,
So do you, this one might, I'll do this one. This is your budget.
Do you want to do it?
Do you want to do the other two first?
That's what I was thinking. I
Yeah.
was trying to figure out how
and
to
then let's
phrase
do the
that for
budget
you.
last.
Yep.
If that, that's okay with you, Lori.
it's fine with me. Which one do you want to do first?
5.7.
We're gonna do all three.
is just it's our fire union
Oh, yeah.
decided to rescind their initial ask of a previous MOU.
Mhm.
And this is just a letter that highlights their rescission, I guess is the word. I've never used that word before, so.
Yeah.
My English teacher mom will be mad at me. But I'll share this on the screen just so folks can take a peek, but really it's just a motion for you guys to
Except,
accept.
Mm-hmm. Would you like a motion?
yeah.
I, Valerie Goodrich, move to acknowledge the proposed fire local 4926 MOU rescission.
Is there a second?
Veronica Cal second.
Okay. Any discussion? And that is, 5.6, no, that's 5.7.
I thought they were
That's
great to chat with.
5.7.
Yeah.
And I look forward to chatting with them, hopefully down the road.
Yeah.
I thought they were passionate and it's a really important thing they're trying to do. So I think I give them their flowers, as they're
Yeah.
like catch term these days, for the hard work they're doing over there. So
Yeah.
appreciate
And
that
actually
being
very
more thoughtful.
informative.
Yeah,
I thought when they came
yeah,
to
it was
see
great.
us.
So,
Thank you, guys.
Need a
Roll
vote?
call vote.
Roll call vote.
Veronica Cal, aye.
Valerie Goodrich, Jai?
And Laura Schiffern, aye.
next is 5.8, which is a discuss Townsend first policy.
Yeah, I asked for that. The Townsend First policy, and Veronica, you'll know more than I because you were on the board when it was voted in and signed the policy. And we've talked about it since then here. It's my understanding that we use Townsend businesses if equal.
If all
Okay.
else is equal,
If
yes.
all else is equal, we use the Townsend business over, and again, that would be about if all is equal. In other words, services were good or whatever, experiences were good. And I just wanted to make sure that that is what we still believe, and that it is not something where a department head could say to somebody, no, I'm not following the policy.
That was the intent.
So I think no matter what, because of certain procurement guidelines, obviously there's thresholds that we have to abide by within Mass General Law first and foremost. So I think that's important, but with all else, everything else being considered the same, the policy is, I haven't had to be used in my time, like 2 months for you guys so far.
Right.
But
I think the important note is the first sentence of the policy too, which says all state and federal law is primary.
Yeah.
So you first of all have to follow state and federal law, and then.
Yes, so it's after that. So that is to handle the procurement
Correct.
piece that you were mentioning.
Okay.
And
So-
the prevailing wage and all the stuff that you have to.
And it is still in, this was 2022,
Yeah,
so it
it's
is
still in
still in effect. Okay.
So I just wanted to reiterate that to our community, that we are Townsend first. And in following with that, our little Townsend first sign downstairs, and in our wanting to welcome businesses into our town and leave their business cards in that place that we have for them downstairs, so that they can promote their businesses to the residents of Townsend and whoever else might come in. Okay, so right now you're not seeing, I saw one today as I walked in. I didn't read it to see who it was because I was rushing in here. But we'd like to see that filled up with Townsend businesses.
So that's
We
the
do want to
bulletin
promote
board
them.
to the left, right as you come in the door.
When you walk in the door, it's on the right. We have a business card holder. You can put it on both sides, but
Okay.
what you're seeing on the left-hand side now is dog licenses and Townsend first, but also departments putting their flyers up there. I think Earth Day might be up
exactly,
there
Earth Day,
now.
perfect
okay.
example,
Okay.
or Board of Health had, sign up for trash,
Yeah.
whatever, one of the services.
That
there.
kind of thing. So that catches people's eye when they come in. But the one on the right is actually a business card holder.
Mhm.
And we encourage the businesses in town to, anybody doing business in town as a business, as one of our ways of helping to promote our economic growth. I know it sounds simple, but if enough people see it and pick up the cards, you're gonna help businesses in town.
And that is not the support that select board, like supporting or not supporting any particular business. Just to specify that also, we don't make any assessments of the businesses that are up there.
No,
or
we're
anything
not
like that.
warranting the card that you pick up, if that's what you mean.
Got it. Just wanted
We're
to
not,
specify
but
that.
we're offering the opportunity for people with Townsend businesses to put their card there. We're not really inviting Lunenburg, Pepperell, Ashby, and everybody else. That is a Townsend First board. But we can't obviously guarantee their services. That would be going without
Nor
saying.
recommend.
I would say it's worthwhile for the town administrator to maybe audit those placeholders once a year, I'd say. Maybe, the turn of the fiscal, or the turn of Christmas time, if you will. Like, I think it might be worth clearing the board. I don't know, I'm just trying to think of some.
Why don't we
that's-
see how it goes?
Yeah.
Since we just got our first
Some
card.
Yeah, I just worry, if it gets
Yeah.
stagnant, if you
Yeah.
have Joe Schmo's, lawn cutting service,
But
and Joe
we're
is a
in here
kid from
enough
college.
to look at the board,
And as a policy,
Employees
it
are
would
here.
have to be all or none, because you don't want to be selective.
Well, and I did
Right.
that before, I cleared everything out, and,
Yes.
one of our employees had put up, an activity that he was advocating for. And I was like, I'm sorry, I just kind of clean swept the board, and he's like, oh, well, that's this coming few days, but I was like, well, you can put it back up if you want to.
It
So
goes on the other side.
it was on the bulletin board side,
Yeah.
yeah, it wasn't the card side.
So it's just another way of paying attention and seeing if it works.
And it's helpful. I mean, if you walk into some place, you may need a plumber. You're at the building department to ask a question. maybe you need a plumber, maybe you
Or
need an electrician.
electrician.
Yeah, they're hard to find these days, so, you never know. So,
Yeah,
it's really nice to have that.
so, and we do want to support those in town, so that's their opportunity to prove themselves
Mhm.
to the community. So that was I just wanted to reiterate all of that, to the public. So that's 5.8, and thank you for allowing me to speak. And do you want to do the 5.6 now?
Yeah, let's, so,
That's the last of our, until we get to work session, right?
correct, yeah. Do you want me to jump right into the recap sheet? Is that the best way to
Go for
do
it.
this? So I will bring this up on the big screen here. For those listening at home, I know the last time I went through this, we were looking at about a $400,000 deficit. The school committee, based on a great conversation with the school committee member, said the school number is likely to come in under what the previous ask was. And when that occurred, it reduced our school assessments, almost a net of, by $260,000-ish dollars. So that took that $400,000 deficit and essentially made it 140. That in itself was tremendously helpful to this town. We were looking at a pretty dire situation that we didn't have a lot of ways out of, other than, potential staff reductions and things of that nature that were really, were alarming and would be really frustrating for the town.
It was
But
very,
the vote is tonight, so
But the
now
vote is
we
tonight,
know
so-
for sure, okay?
Yeah. So with all that being said, I'm very appreciative of that conversation I had with that school committee member. I'm really hopeful that it comes to fruition and that they're able to sort of work with the town and work with some of all the budget confines every town is expecting right now. So as we back into the recap sheet, which again highlights our expenses, appropriations, and then also our revenue side, I've made some adjustments along the way. If I can get this large enough, right? Not too small.
sure.
It's a little wonky. Try to zoom in more. In general, again, here we are with this 11.5, and this is, our operating expenses as a town. School assessments, this is the new numbers here, for a budget just around $28.7 million, which is about a 4.1% increase for the town, almost 4.2. TCAM remains static. They're going to share with us their number, and then we're going to back into that because that comes from the PEG Cable Access Fund, based on subscribers with Comcast.
Doesn't
It evens out.
Elizabeth, I know it evens out, but doesn't Elizabeth provide that number, the amount that's in that account, the accountant?
She will, yeah. So
Okay,
the catch there is, and again, this is something we're going to catch up with TCAM, is what's the expenses? What was the last time we need to go through some of the Comcast quarterly reports to make sure everything adds up there
They have been asking Melissa and Elizabeth and have not gotten an answer
from Comcast, right?
from,
From TCAM or
for
It's Comcast.
our account
for our
in
account.
town,
Yeah,
meaning Melissa and the accountant. Where do they stand? How much money has come in? They don't know. They
Who
don't
is
have that
that?
report.
TCAM?
TCAM.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so something, so we, that's why that one's in green. I'm going to be going back to that.
okay.
Green doesn't mean confirmed anymore, but, looking down, overlay is pretty static. Snow and ice, I have at 350 right now. I'm hopeful that's a little high.
When every single year has been more than that?
well, but if you look at it, like, we've had a whole lot more snow
Yeah.
than we've had before, so maybe
In the
it's gonna
last
be
5
different
years?
this year, where we don't get back end loaded with snow.
Just trying to be hopeful.
Okay, me too.
Yeah.
I'll be positive.
Um,
5 years worth
Yeah,
at 4 something a year
so,
average.
then also looking here, in capital stabilization, about $46,000, almost $47,000. That will cover this last payment on the cat loader of $31,100.
Yeah.
will be almost, capital stabilization will be quite low at that point, for what it's worth. So for those folks that are volunteering for that group, something to be aware of. Again, these numbers are, we're working on these as estimates here for the cherry sheets. The fun part, our revenues. Because we are working with cherry sheets, these look pretty good. Indirects for water, sorry. And then local estimated receipts. We were previously at 9% because of the change in the school number.
That's a new one.
I brought that down. I know it's like stuck in my throat.
Want me to
Yeah.
refill it?
I'm good.
Take a minute.
It's not
Some
gonna-
I don't
pause,
want
take
you
a
to choke on
recess.
us.
Skittles might help.
I know, right? So I did bring that number down. 9% is too high. Because in the event you come up short next year, you're really up against it. So I brought that number down to 6.5. Town accountant agreed. And she said that's a more cautious approach to take. 9% is too aggressive. I know Starbucks is coming. I know we are anticipating some more local receipts, but
Wait and see,
let's be cautious.
Yeah.
wait and see.
Rather than overshooting and coming up short.
Yeah.
Um,
I agree with that.
Local receipts, our ambulance receipts, 700K. I know there was a note that capital planning was suggesting potentially using that 700K to buy bunker gear. I'm hopeful that that does not check out
Does-
because
I think on the
Does-
final report that
did it
isn't
change?
there.
Okay,
No.
Does bunker gear classify as,
does not,
Infrastructure?
No.
No,
does not.
but good try.
These numbers, again, this has to balance out with the PEG access up top. This is, pretty
Well, they're
standard.
gonna have to get it from somewhere.
Um,
If it doesn't come out of their receipts, where do you think it's gonna come from?
let's figure it out.
Again, snow and ice. This evens out from up above. This is if your override passes, your SRO. Here's the outlier. This is 100K of free cash to balance your budget. Last year, you used around 400K, so this is about 75% less than last year's budget. This would be breaking something I was focusing on, which was your 2017 budget policy. I think you considered it going cold turkey. It's really hard to go cold turkey in such a full swoop here for the town.
I think it's a trend in the right direction.
I would like to see that at zero from free cash. That's just me.
I would too.
And then we're just looking at the other things. This is coming confirmed, so that's in good shape. So here in this situation, you have a surplus of $2,667.
That is wonderful.
This is a balanced
It
budget
is
for you.
not negative.
Correct. Again, I can't give enough credit to the school folks for really truly sharpening their pencil. I don't know what it does to their budgets down the road, but I'm just focused on Townsend
That's all we
first,
can
town
do.
hall first.
There's
for now.
a huge school committee with many members from all the towns,
Right.
so we have to trust them and their numbers.
Yep. So again, fingers crossed that vote of confidence in the budget reduction comes true. As I scroll down here, I started to think of, well, what happens if we need other reductions? I started to look over here. I've already reduced FinCom on the omnibus budget from 40,000 to 30.
That was 20.
I sort of moved it around a little bit more again. And that was based on the last 5 years of spending. They have only spent over $20,000 a couple times. They average about $18,000 a year in spending.
So that would make them 25 in the budget in the omnibus when we look at it.
Correct.
Yeah.
I haven't
Makes
brokered
sense.
this topic with them yet. They may not be happy about it. I did say to their chair and he wasn't thrilled. So they might draw and quarter me, so that's fine. I also looked at other things like the trust staff. This is sort of self-cannibalizing. So if I'm not your TA and you have someone else in the corner office there and I go back to being your trust and grant person, I will have taken that out
you may be able to, we'll look at the BVA next, but you may be able to take out that whole section if in fact the property that we have the RFP for sells.
Mhm.
And that would make it closer to the 8,000 range,
Mhm.
which might be a good thing.
Correct. You could also reduce town council code. So if you pass that free cash article for 50K, I would take the $90,000 I put on the omnibus budget for town council and make it 85, because you will be marrying the 85 plus the 50, so you'd be at 135 that way. You're at 82.5 for them, and you're going to spend all of that this year. But again, we're trying to solve the budget situation here. The tree warden, I think I would work with that gentleman to say, hey, we only have half the funding. I've not talked to him at all. I've only talked to him once about budget submission. So I apologize in advance if this is alarming news to them. But we're trying to figure out ways to be fiscally responsible. You'll see on the omnibus in a moment, I did increase your snow and ice budget substantially. Again, if you were trying to leverage one year against the other, you could again do what you're doing this year and having a huge snow and ice number to be bailed out by free cash in fiscal year 28.
The problem with that is we're gonna be even tighter because of all the little tiny areas that we're cutting.
Yep.
So it's hard not to keep that in there.
We do have an individual retiring, so there may be some insurance savings. Perhaps we think of ways to incentivize folks to peel off our insurance. Perhaps an employee falls off, perhaps there's some savings there. Just trying to figure out any stone that could be turned to help save some dollars for the town. Over to the right, we're looking at our free cash, and these were my personal notes in terms of things that I think were likely expenses. OPEB study, elections, town council trust, 350 for snow and ice, 100K for free cash. That leaves you with a balance of about $34,000. Not enough for ClearGov, not enough for the bunker gear.
But ClearGov could come out of the land transfer fund. And I think, again, that's another thing that I think is very important, especially if we're going into a year that's gonna be tight again.
Mhm.
And where, if there is a potential for an override, depending on what happens with negotiations.
Mhm.
You're talking
And
about next year.
we're talking about next year, so I think that getting ClearGov, getting it set up and having it for the year would be a wonderful thing.
Mhm.
I do. So if we have a special town meeting with the annual, and if it's okay to take it out of the sale of buildings.
Do you agree though that
Okay.
we probably should table it next week for free cash?
Not necessarily, no. I'd rather see some of those things on the left there come to fruition and reduce that 100K free cash and put the 42 up there.
If we find out between now and special town meeting that you could use the sale of buildings fund for it, you can change the motion on the floor for how it's
Where it comes.
where it's
yeah.
funded from. So right now,
Yeah,
it's currently a
true.
motion of free cash. You could say sale of buildings, water department, sale of water department building, however it's worded with Adam.
Or land transfer funds
Mhm.
or whatever. Because we did lose 80,000 just last fiscal year by not having something, a vetted
Tracking.
piece of software.
Yeah.
To keep track of our budgets, and it will allow us to look out. It would give us time before the end of this fiscal year to get it populated so that it's usable. And where Vadar has budgeting, it's really, really clunky. And I don't see people spending a lot of time. You're gonna have to spend time to learn any new software.
Mhm.
But this is set up for exactly what the town needs it for. Vadar, I'm not so sure.
And Vadar is just kind of like an old school file maker tool.
Yeah.
It's great if you know it really well, but if you don't, I think it would take some time to really get on board. And I think ClearGov's more intuitive, but it comes with a cost. And a subscription that costs around $20-ish, $22,000 a year with 6% increase in the cost every year.
So the way I look at using 100K from free cash, because I've thought a lot about this, is that it gives us that, it's a huge step in the right direction. I mean, you look at what we've done in the past, you can see. I mean, we are going there, and it gives us that flexibility to implement changes brought about by a hiring freeze, just like we started today. It gives us that time to say, hey, is there places that we can make things more efficient? Is there places that there are, intermunicipal solutions? And it gives us that year to really, every position that comes up, we evaluate it, town administrator works with the department head, is this necessary? It gives us that flexibility. That's the way I'm looking at that 100K.
Well, I will tell you that the earlier stuff, the hot heavy use, a lot of that was money spent to buy out people, essentially. Those were payouts that were in contracts during the years where serious payouts were in a lot of contracts.
Oh yeah, I'm less
So
concerned
it
about the
was-
why as the trend.
Well,
I know it's related.
is
It's
more
related, but
positive, but I would really like to do it without, if we can, and we're so close that we may be able to.
Mhm.
So I've thought about it a lot too, and if we can explore places, I mean, just getting a balanced budget with this, thank you to the schools. I mean, really
Yeah,
a big thank you to the schools. Without that, and it's not voted yet.
Yeah.
So.
I think it's important to note that if you, as a select board, say, to your TA, your interim TA, like, I don't want you to use free cash, then the next step in that philosophy is likely some personnel reductions. I want to be crystal clear about it. So that's, again, I agree that maybe, I think I said this, I don't know who I wrote this in an email to, but in the event that you use some free cash this year, the 100K, let's say, as of July 2026, you would be starting an override committee July 2nd to say this, we're going to start this now to build momentum, positive momentum to get you to spring of 27. And it would be an all hands on deck. It would be a school person, it would be a FinCom person, a select board, a TA, maybe a treasurer collector, accountant, everybody sort of coming up with ideas and then implementing them and checking with every village and every neighborhood in town to say, will you support an override? A truly operational override to, solidify staff in the buildings, solidify your police, your fire, your schools, every department, so that there's continuity and it's a longer term plan. It's not just 1 year of a Band-Aid. It's sort of how it goes. So I think that would be my charge to you guys, is to just think really long term about, it's 1 year and then getting to a finish line that helps for a big plan, and looking at next year's budget as certainly much tighter, but with an opportunity for momentum, and how refreshing it might be to a resident that you're not coming to them for an operational override. Like after the storm of last year, it is really kudos to you guys and the schools to say, we figured it out this year.
With the exception, please.
But police is,
But
It's there.
that's really
That's
easy to point
part
to,
of the deal.
and they were out of contract, so then you're.
No, I understand. I'm just.
Go back down to that free cash thing, because that 200,000 of free cash that we took out, and the one up above where you were comparing the years. That 200K is what came out in March last year. That wouldn't have been there if not for that. And that put us 200K in the hole to start
By
the
the school.
year. And so 100K in free cash going into the budget, it puts us in the hole that much next year. And the budget has been cut so much. I mean, we cut all the expense side last year to be able to budget for this year. And it's even further cuts. We haven't looked at the omnibus yet. even further cuts this year to get there. So if there is any way, even if it means looking at staff, I am okay looking at that in order to not be in the hole next year. Because at least you know that you can do it with 2% for personnel for the next year if you have to. It's not ideal because the omnibus budget, yeah, it's balanced, but it is not ideal.
Right.
It's
I don't think
balanced.
anybody around here has an ideal budget municipally this year.
Well, it's so cut, it's so austere.
And
It's-
again, the only reason I've come around on 100K is because I do think if you have a hiring freeze in place, you can, I think you get that 100K over the course of the year in the hard discussions of someone's not here, how is this working out?
But the thing is, it's cut so tightly that we need not only that 100K, but that 350 snow and ice above it, which we are not gonna have in free cash unless we have a mass exodus of, personnel.
That might be a good time for me to jump into, your omnibus budget here. Again, this was
And
discussed.
this is not, if I may, not necessarily people that you want leaving that are leaving.
Potentially, yeah. So looking at this budget, you guys made the ask of the salary at 180. I put in the notes here, contract 2.5%. Otherwise, for all staff, I did 2% for their wages. And again, you start to see here where the nipping and tucking begins. I can look at auto allowance went away for the TA. All sorts of different departments here that you just sort of cut back on. Your professional services line, everywhere. Webmaster, it goes on and on. Here's your FinCom number. 2% for accounting, CBIZ contract. And you can tell me to go fast or slow, but 2% here. And I've sent this to staff to say it's 2%. And I know we have agreements and unions to consider, but this is where the budget's at right now. And because it's so lean, I think you're probably looking at anyone who says, I need 4%. I kind of half jokingly say, well, then the next department head meeting, let me know who isn't going to be here at the following department head meeting. It's that tight,
Yeah.
to your point about the budget in terms of what it looks like for the town. And that's a really mean, that's not a nice way to phrase it, but I think it's a really honest way. It's very transparent for these folks to decide.
And
How they
unions
wanna be.
already know that.
Yeah.
It's not a secret.
Again, we looked everywhere. Jason from, fellow TA helped me with some of these things. So he really sharpened his pencil, and he's here to watch me and tell me what I'm doing wrong along the way here. So, but this is not what other, similar to Val's point, other communities are also going through this. Like they are,
Yeah, we know.
it's bleak. So I'll keep scrolling down, but the mega points are really, this town council, you saw a $7,500 increase. This jump may not be as necessary when you consider $50,000 via trust, but with several union negotiations to take care of, police isn't done yet. I think
It's
having,
pretty much all of them.
yeah. And then we know that fires the following year after, we're going to begin those discussions. And I think
In
it's,
FY26.
it's critically important to have labor council involved from day one and all of those steps. Because I think there's some things that even a seasoned select board may not think of that a good labor council will.
She was involved all of last year.
Again, 2% across the board here. Town clerk is, does have 3 mandatory elections this year. So we may find that 20K is necessary to help offset some of those election costs.
Can they get grant money from the state?
There's
Since
not a
they're
lot-
mandatory?
There's not,
Very large.
almost
Just
like
asking.
almost like an unfunded mandate. Which I think is a little,
Good for.
yeah, a little unfortunate. You know, I was penny pinching with the town clerk. I said, you know, do you need this 5K for street listing or 5,200? He said, actually, that's the census work that the town does. So he's like, well, make it 5. I said, okay, that $200 matters. Like that's where we are in the budget, you know. Again, just sort of scrolling through, nipped and tucked in all these different line items for training, supplies, mileage, dues and membership. MRPC is usually goes up about 2.5%, so I did keep that at a 2.5% number.
Well, we more than get that back.
We do, and they are
That's
great.
definitely a investment.
You will see some of my own reductions. Reduce the land use coordinator. That's an unfilled role currently. You do have an employee taking some of those hours, but this would sort of be tightening that budget there. You know, reduction of the grant administrator, though it does help, you know, gain things for the town. Again, we're trying to do a really lean budget here, so you can sort of see how that comes together. I did remove this land use administrative assistant. It was just a fractional employee. I think that was me at one point. But, you know, and sort of speaking to the leanness and then what the free cash looks like next year, you're probably beginning to realize the picture is tight. You know, similar things here, nipped and tucked in different facilities, areas. You know, you won't be happy, but, you know, this is sort of a collective budget, you know, reduce the electricity costs, though the rates are through the roof right now. You know, some of the rates that National Grid's putting on its customers are crazy.
I thought we got a 25% reduction from Unitil.
So they're giving you that reduction, but then you're gonna pay it in the off months. It's just such a ruse. If you watch,
Smoke and mirrors.
yeah, if
smoke
you
and
watch
mirrors.
Maura Healy's presentation, it was a good effort, but I mean, right, am I wrong? I see my colleague nodding his head. I mean, I wish it was better. You know, we did cut back significantly in professional services. Just said you're gonna have to tighten the belt here. But the increase is truly more or less the utility increases. Police was pretty static in terms of it's dependent upon that override question. Our police chief's contract is up, so I kind of took an average of the areas in terms of what we're supposed to, how I'm supposed to be on tonight's agenda. That's what it was. I missed that one.
Oh, right.
Sure. So
Next week.
yeah, we need to discuss his contract. You know, again, here's his override number with 15 officers. And sort of the increases you'll see there. There was some nipping and tucking along the way based on his spending. You'll see that in a few different departments, both police, fire, as well as highway areas that based on a few years worth of historical reporting they haven't spent in. Perhaps that was part of the end of year transfer dance that it sounds like Townsend likes to do. But, you know, try to make a balanced budget without those allocations for fiscal year 27. This is, you know, recognizing your police or your fire chief is coming off contract next year. So you're going to look at that, you know, for 32 hours a week, $55 an hour, 2% for the 3 years. I think that's a pretty fair rate considering there's no assistant fire chief in that department. Other obligations here are 2%. This group runs a really tight budget, and they're pretty responsive in terms of our ambulance receipts. So not a lot of poking at the holes here, but we still did reduce in a few different areas. These are all pretty much the same. Veronica pointed out to me that this is our communication center. This is our Patriot costs here. So that's something that I just wasn't aware of before in terms of what it looked like.
When you scroll that back up, so the amounts above it, have you looked at the BVA to see those 3 lines?
I haven't yet.
I mean, I think that's equipment that we have, but it might be worth looking at that.
Yeah. You know, building inspector, was quite generous in terms of before had offered back to give money back in order to make things work for his department and the town. With the retirement of their admin, some things loosen up there, and he commented on that earlier in terms of how the budget comes together. I kind of put the support staff number at about 10K is my guess. But we're sort of going to test the waters a little bit here over the next 90 days to sort of get there, and sort of see what that looks like. In general, we end up kind of net positive here. We get a savings, with the retirement of a long-term staff member.
I do think that each of the department heads is gonna have to look monthly to see where they are as far as their budget goes.
Yeah, I didn't delve much into animal inspection. I just sort of kept those flat. Maybe I should put a 2% number in there, but I can get to that. Tree warden, again, I think that's Mr. Mizuko, if I remember correctly. Kept that number here, but that's one of those plan B options if you needed me to go there. Burial agent, things like this are pretty standard. School assessment, here's your math here. This should check. Nice to know that these are some of our exempt debt numbers. Those are important because that helps us at the bottom line. Highway, they're getting an additional employee. They have a mechanic, or the equipment mechanic, still short-staffed, but some of that's training costs and such. We did go through his budget, and I sort of touched base with him on overtime. I said we took some of that back. He's like, well, I need that. I said, I'm kind of up against it here. So I did pull back there. It just hasn't always been spent. So if you don't spend it, we're going to take it back, sweep it back into the bucket. So
He had overtime that wasn't spent.
for not snow and ice related, but for like
Generic.
So like if
Generic.
if like a tree fell down on a Sunday night and they had to send a guy out to saw it up.
Thunderstorms in July.
Thunderstorms in July, if you get one of those microbursts.
So the question is then, goes to the tree warden. Is that the tree warden's responsibility or is that highway's responsibility?
All the above.
So,
In one of the examples he gave, the
Yeah.
water department was actually the one that ended up clearing the
Yeah.
limb that had fallen.
mhm,
I think it's
Yeah,
that was on that.
But he still had to pay that highway guy for showing up.
Yeah. Anyway, okay.
it depends on the scenario. And you trust that they're gonna figure it out.
This is, trust in the department head. So, again, tightened, he requested, cut off $680 here. You start to see this trend in a variety of places. The fun part, snow and ice. You were at 252 last year. I increased it almost $67,000 on you. The real notable areas are the private plows for the town are identified under equipment rental. We are like $20 less than the competition in the area. We're like $80 an hour, let's say, and it's $100 an hour is what Ashby's paying their 1099 plow people. We're losing plow resources because of that.
Yeah.
So,
But we also have more plow guys than Ashby does. Because Ashby doesn't have much of a highway department, if I remember correctly.
but
And so they have to pay premium to get anybody to plow.
Pepperell pays more, Groton pays more. We're low priority when it comes to plowing for private plow guys. He did say this is a big point of contention. I said, okay,
I think that's the minimum we have to pay them,
yeah,
Is it?
we're at the bottom of the barrel, yeah.
I mean, by law.
Yeah.
I think we've had so many, locals that have been very good to the town, knowing that it's their town.
Mhm.
They wouldn't go and plow out of town for more money. Now we have an aging population
Mhm.
and the younger folks want more money. And so they're gonna go out of town. They don't have the same kind of, feeling or allegiance to, the town as their own.
Yeah, people vote with their feet, so.
It's kind of a reverse Townsend first policy than that we plowing town first.
Well, we had a lot of people that felt that way, and
Notably,
it's tough for them now.
I did increase the salt orders by 1.5, just to try to catch up a little bit here.
I think that's. And have some on stock?
Well, it's just the
Or inside.
numbers there, because you figure it's about 2 to 3 loads a year. You know, the $96,000 is one order. If we're at least getting some coverage on the second order, it helps. It means that snow and ice ask at the end of the year is less.
Yeah, I get that.
Or if it's a really good year and it's not much snow, we can offset it in other ways.
Do they stock up in the summer when it's cheaper, or do they wait?
I think it's probably based on manufacturers. I don't really know how all those mechanisms work.
I know
Looking
that
at Jason, maybe,
Depends on if you have money to buy it.
yeah.
last year we got one at the end of the year, so.
I mean, it would make more sense.
Available discount too.
Yeah.
What they pay.
So, it's another 67,000 more dollars than last year's budget in there. It's not enough, but it's a move in the right direction. You could take that other $34,000 in free cash and you could say, all right, let's increase it to 2 orders. So then you are covering yourself in that version.
Mhm.
It's just another free cash sort of safety net, if you will, so. So again, running through it here, most of these numbers are pretty static from solid waste. Cemetery and parks, 2%. Not a lot of surprises in here.
I think Roger made a little change to the admin in there.
He did, yeah, he's a department head and I think he brokered that with them, so. I did flatline, he had given themselves 4% raises, I think I made it 2%. Because of the union status of the employee, so. Housing authority, again, I reduced this, as someone who is your housing authority agent, if you will, just to save a few dollars for the town. Similar with the trust, and there's a world that the trust costs are covered if the sale of property for that group occurs. Board of Health, 2%. The professional services, I nipped back, if you will. Board of Health, Brud Neshoba, I can't fight that, but that's a pretty substantial increase, almost 30%. Landfill engineering is a contract with Weston and Sampson, so that's static. Council on Aging gets a lot of great funding from some private organizations, but still does have direct costs to the town, 2% here. Veterans agent, I don't have a contract from her, so I'm gonna have to catch up with her in terms of what it looks like for her side of things. We brought some of the benefits in line to what the historical spending's been, so. Library has their own, has a funding source privately through the library trustees. So I left it to their department heads. I know there's been some questions about some maintenance and custodial things over there, so I did try to help out with some of their custodial questions and such. It's also a number that gets us to their matching, and Valerie knows the word.
Yeah,
for this, but
if they remain certified and we don't have to apply for a waiver this year, because if we didn't get the waiver, there'd be $35,000 less coming in.
Yeah.
So that prevents us from having to risk that $35,000. It's a very early process, so I don't want to say a lot about it yet, but there's a chance too that the endowment's gonna possibly look at cleaning that facility and bumping that in, so that would free up some.
Yeah, I had that number, that 457, 412.
That was the exact number,
Up
so
before,
not a
so.
penny more than what they need, the minimum they need to remain certified this year.
Yeah.
And if we get it, we can apply for the exception, but there's no guarantee, so then you might actually lose more than you gain.
Yeah.
It's not, I think it's not that.
Recreation, 2%.
Why do we have $1 for support staff?
They
Why isn't
put that in their
considered?
budget, because they believe like keeping the position in there. I can let the recreation,
It's $1.
Yeah.
Seems silly.
yeah. I regrettably went into our, bands and concerts group to sort of pull back some funds there. I know that's not fun, but again, trying to be collective in terms of not asking residents for an override and
So
Thanks,
that's one band concert?
What did you pull it back to?
so it was.
Nothing?
Well, it's at
Well,
15,
close.
yeah, 15,855. Last year was 17,107. So we were about, what's the math, Veronica? You're a math teacher, $1,400.
Something like that.
Last-
So
So
is
that's
that
one concert.
concert? I think it's one.
And where's Memorial Day? Or that's
It's
together?
all together, yeah.
Memorial Day looks like it's still there.
Memorial Day was $200. Band services was, what's that, $650. So, yeah, we're,
It's fine.
and it was, there was no department didn't get a cut. And I think that's the message I'm gonna share with staff. Flag expenses, I brought that down to 1,300. Things like the debt here isn't really changing, not much I can do there. It is worth noting, this will eventually go up to the treasurer collector's line. This is really a treasurer collector expense. And we'll move out of this section of the budget and we'll go up to the treasurer collector bucket. And then if you're looking at retirement, unemployment, went up a wee bit. Health insurance, town share, is 13,690. That's your 12.9%. In the event that there's someone retires, maybe there's a savings, just kind of have as a placeholder, but to keep it at the 12.9% for the town. Life insurance stayed the same. Medicare went up a little bit, and our property and casualty, police, fire, and work comp did go up pretty substantially, from 390 to 4435, which was a bummer. So then you're at that $28 million budget, and subtracting the schools, you're at 11.5. Question?
So that Medicare number, they go up a little bit. I don't recall the exact number, but that number is given to us from the state.
Okay.
I don't know why it's been the same each year. Was it the same each year? But anyway, that number is different. Not significantly, but I'll get you that number.
Great.
So that could be lower than 100,000 if the trends are the same, although Medicare
Yeah,
on the national level. Anyway,
if you have
never
the number.
mind.
I don't know what the
100,000
government.
might be about right.
Yeah. So again, this is where you can sort of see the budgets coming together, so what it looks like for the town. Any questions?
Okay, and that may change.
The school number will, if it gets firmed up tonight, will be in good, hopefully optimistic shape. I don't know if you need a budget summit to discuss this. It was really supposed to happen in the fall based on your,
No, that's a preliminary in the fall. The budget summit is always in March.
based on the town charter and the bylaws.
Are you
It's
sure?
Positive. Read it this morning with Sabrina. She's like, well, all right.
We've had
Well,
it
then why
every
did they
year
make
in
us do
March.
it last March 10th?
Yeah, that's a good
We've
question.
had it every March.
Might be
since
one
I've
of
been
those
in select
policies.
And
board.
that's true too. That,
Might be in the
it's
policy.
been every month.
It's
And not the
been
bylaw
every
charter.
Yeah,
March.
I won't find it now, but I don't, what's the purpose of the summit?
It's usually for department heads to defend their budget. But in this case, there's not much change from
There's
last year.
Nothing to
Not
defend.
much to defend.
Well, last year,
There's-
only 2 department heads showed up.
Well, they came throughout the
Yeah,
weeks.
yeah, so has the finance been doing that with the department heads?
But they don't have this. They haven't had this, so it's been hard for them to.
That's not true. I've sent it to him twice now.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, recently.
Without any
recently.
response. So,
But so I guess my question is you need direction from us on this.
I do.
And I mean, I started off this budget process being like, I think I sent you that 2017 policy and I was like.
You did.
This is what but I've been talking to, talking to Jason and the other TAs doing the interim, like the TA job search thing and everything. Spending 100,000 in free cash is not bad to balance a budget this year.
$28 million budget.
It's really not bad. And it's, as I said,
I'll let you guys talk about it. I can get water, so.
it's definitely like significantly better than previous years.
Yeah, but that 100,000 or even 200,000 or all the lines there that they took out of the town budget was not the $28 million budget, it was the $11 million budget that it was taken out of. It was not taken out of the school at any point in time.
Well, I think the school they've been doing a lot of work over there this past year to get to the number we have. That
Well,
hopefully
they
will be
should
approved.
have. Yeah. Yeah.
Can I ask a question? So if you were to put more of that free cash in snow and ice, say, I mean, as somewhat of a safeguard, so it can't be used for something else, and then you didn't use it for snow and ice, could you put it back in the general fund?
It stays in free and cash.
Free cash.
Goes back into.
What?
It would go back to,
To
I
free
said
cash.
if you took some free cash and put more of that into snow and ice, and then you did overestimate, you didn't use all of that, but in the meantime, it's sort of
It would,
protected by this umbrella, right, so you can't use it for something else. Can you transfer that money back into the general fund?
in the next, if I'm understanding you right, in the next fiscal year, if you didn't spend what was in the omnibus budget in snow and ice,
Right.
it would roll into free cash the next year.
Okay,
So it gives you the, well, we've always spent free cash. We, the town, have always spent free cash for snow and ice, and we've always lowered that number in the omnibus in order to balance the budget. It's been a tool, but we have never been, at least since 2020, a little bit before, that tight in the expenses line as we are now.
Right.
That it
Agreed.
is so tight, that there isn't any give. And to me, it's a little bit too tight, but it does balance the budget. It avoids an override for this year. And for me, the number one is to avoid an override for this year. My second thing would be to not use free cash, so as not to cripple the people next year. So that would be my second thing. And because it's only 100,000 and Kieran has identified places that we could pull it over, I think we could almost make it without using 100,000 of free cash. Whatever they want.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
If we get rid of that 100,000, we're looking at reductions.
2 to 3, correct.
I think we're all just a little gun shy based on our experience and free cash from being pirated.
Well, it's a
So long
policy
ago.
not to use, free cash for recurring expenses. It's a policy. And although we used a lot of free cash early on, it wasn't for recurring expenses. It was for contract payouts. Because all of the personal services contracts had about 150 a year of payouts, for each of those contracts, not totally. And so there were payouts. And a lot of that free cash was not for recurring expenses. It was a lot spent, but it wasn't for that. So,
I mean, I think this puts us in a good place, because then we also do have to make the sidebar for police with what's gonna happen otherwise.
Mhm.
yeah, I do think we have to look at that.
So, but I think this is a good place to start from.
Because we put the override funds in there, we have not accounted in the balanced budget for the increase or unless we just keep it flat, nothing.
It would be flat,
It would be flat,
it wouldn't change.
which means that it's zero, and that's a really bad place to be. And although we're giving 2% to everybody else, the police contract isn't written that way.
But they don't get anything,
They don't get anything, right?
so it's the fiscal year 28
Oh,
problem.
it's a positive.
Yeah, you actually come out ahead.
Yeah. I just think we need to look at that.
Yeah, so
It's 40% though, if Article 4 passes.
If it passes.
Yeah.
Are you saying the union agreed that if the override doesn't go through, that they don't get an increase?
no, we're back.
No, they didn't,
Hang
it
my hat on
means that
that.
we're
No.
back.
It just
to
means we're
the-
back to negotiations
The
again.
bargaining table.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think we still have work that we need to do, and this is a good place to start from. But, and I would make a motion as to such, but
I mean, we'll know, so it's kind of twofold. So
you need the school.
we're contingent upon the school number tonight, shortly. And then you're also, dependent upon police override. But I'm advocating for you guys to go with this budget as you have before you, because I think it's the most sensible budget. Because I helped build it, so of course I'm gonna advocate for it, but I think looking at past year's spending, this is the right place to get you to July 1st. And then, like I said, July 2nd, the override concept,
Well, and it would be the outside groups advocating for it, but we present the information.
outside groups, and then, you're working with, your unions, then you're working with, staff to, understand what everyone's job descriptions, things like that. You're really working through all the gritty work, for a full year up until that point, rather than having, someone like myself try to put the fire out right now. But that you guys hired me for a job, so I will do whatever your marching orders are. You are the executives of the town. This is your decision.
I would vote for going forward with a balanced budget without an override. I agree with that completely. But I want to see, the budget a little differently down around the free cash line. And
The catch there is on how are you gonna spend it? So if you don't use that 100K, where does it go?
snow and ice.
It's the catch 22.
Leave it, or don't touch it.
I would not touch it.
You don't have to touch it.
And then look at what pops up next year
Mhm.
that needs funded, what if equipment breaks, although it's under, that's a pretty new copier
What's that
out there.
infrastructure?
And it's under, but
Yeah.
what if something happens, that
Well,
needs,
so I
that
think-
we
but I
haven't
think that-
anticipated?
I think that the whole next year, every single thing is under a microscope.
Hmm.
I think you enter next year and every single thing that happens, it's a long budget year. It's like the whole year of budgeting.
It is.
Well,
And
I
it gives
agree
you
with
that chance to look at, I
But
think
with-
you'll wind up at a whole year of going through this methodically with more than
It
100,000.
can change in the fall too, fall town meeting.
It's just,
Be amended.
like any sort of restructuring and reorganizing needs 6 months minimum because we have to bring it to special town meeting in the fall to get it approved before we can implement it.
Mhm.
I just think this, with the timeline given, is
We could also revisit this next week and say we have the school number.
I assumed we were gonna vote it on Saturday, but I'm good with voting it on Tuesday if we're not doing a Saturday budget summit.
I just
But
think
I'm
it's
not good
silly
with
to,
voting
not
it
to be
tonight.
disrespectful to it, but I don't see the point. And your staff I'm gonna advocate for staff here, they're grumpy enough, and it's gonna cost us a day of comp time for them to come here on a Saturday. And really, like, we're only giving them 2%, shouldn't be asking for them to come here on a Saturday. To be perfectly blunt with you, like,
I agree.
it's also unfair to you guys. You guys have lives. Do you want to come
we?
here on a Saturday?
Yeah,
Like, I'm just saying, like, I mean, I can make it happen in my schedule. I just think I've sent this to staff. I've only had one staff member call and say, hey, that's all I'm looking at. I'm like, yeah, they're like, okay, thanks for doing it. Because the alternative is
More reductions.
More reductions.
I don't want to vote on a budget before we have all the information. So I want to know, can we use the building fund, the
For clear cut.
land funds for what exactly?
Mhm.
I want to know that. The housing funds, I would like to meet with the housing trust and see about giving that up. That would, I mean, because I'm good with that. I mean,
Yeah.
who knows, we might not even have a housing trust
If the land doesn't
after-
sell, yeah.
if the land doesn't sell. I mean, we're dead in the water pretty
Mhm.
much. There's a few other things in that list on the left. I don't think they're sussed out enough right now.
Yeah.
Not that you haven't been working on it, you know, but you know what I mean. And so it's, I think it's almost there.
Yeah.
But
There's another
I-
16K that you're not using free cash.
And who knows, if maybe the schools will come in with 50K more.
Mhm.
And that could be really helpful.
That would be very helpful.
And do we have a final water number? Those sorts of things. I really thought that, so my goal for voting on a budget was Saturday. But I am perfectly fine with voting, however those little details get sorted out,
Mhm.
with saying that I vote that we have a budget that's balanced without, an override. I'm comfortable with that.
Mhm.
This budget makes me comfortable with that. That's all. I don't want to make it more difficult for people next year. I think that it's gonna be a difficult year. And we have Kieran, but we don't have a TA. And without a TA who's on board and, experienced enough to understand what's going on, you can talk all you want about an override, and it may never happen. All
Well-
your discussions and meetings
Well, but I
and
think-
all that.
I think that it's not just an override, you're also restructuring for not having one.
Right,
That's what you're
and
doing.
so
That's-
we
I mean,
went
you're-
in
'cause-
with restructuring after last year's budget and nothing happened. We have a whole different TA sitting here now doing this.
But that.
And I never would have anticipated that in July last year.
Correct.
So,
Because
Well,
it was a goal we set and work didn't get done in a previous.
I
And there's a
mean,
chance you have someone different come July again. For you, because you're
And-
not
and if-
re-upping, but then there's also a new member, and potentially two
maybe,
more.
maybe 3 new members.
So it's almost like you're kind of, you're parlaying to let a bigger group make a decision as a representatives of the town.
Right.
It's
So
not a bad
I
philosophy.
I just want to see exactly what we're doing here. And I think we need final numbers from the school. That's why we moved the budget summit from last week Saturday to next week
Yes,
Saturday. I'm not advocating for the budget summit on Saturday, but I'm good with waiting until Tuesday.
Yeah, and I can go, depending on our timing, check on that with our FinCom friends too, so.
Good time. Got an hour.
so is it legal for us to say we're not gonna have a summit on Saturday?
So from what I understand, and I can
I'll
I
believe
correct
you
this,
guys, whatever you say, but
It is-
we've always done that.
FinCom's meeting with rec first, we actually have time.
Say again?
FinCom's meeting with rec first and joint, so we actually have
Okay.
time. I believe, and I'll pull this up, it's a policy. So it's a policy and not in the charter or the bylaw. It is a select board finance policy.
Right.
So select board can decide not to have it?
Well, it's select board and FinCom, so FinCom has to be involved in that decision. At least I would think.
But FinCom can have one if they want.
Here it is right here.
It's in the document, right? 2017.
Just read it.
Yes, screen share.
It's the same document that but it's not charter or bylaw.
This information is presented to the Board of Selectmen, Finance Committee, and the town's representatives on the North Middlesex Regional School Districts Committee, Regional School District Committee at a financial summit in early November.
Yes, that's the one where you meet with, so if you read the
That's
above
different.
part, that is different from this year's. We did do that, my first 2, maybe 3 years. And we met with all those,
throw that in a
and
tiny
it was,
department.
this is what we think the anticipated receipts are gonna be. This is what we think, and it was more of a recap look than an omnibus budget look.
How
It
the
was
heck
a,
is it in
this
there?
is
It's not
the
in there.
state
not
of
in there.
the
It's not in there.
town.
So look at the next, so during the board's 2 regularly scheduled meetings in February, joint budget hearings are held with
Mhm.
Finance Committee. The Board of Selectmen deliberates, the town administrator makes changes.
Yep.
By the first day of March, the town administrator submits the proposed budget inclusive of a budget message and supporting documents to the Board of Selectmen and Finance Committee.
Okay.
That's it.
That's it.
Yeah,
It's kind of nice to have.
I've already sent the budget. I've given the message to the chair of that group to say, it's really tight. We're using 100K free cash.
I'm good with the motion not
This is your
for us
2017
not to meet
policy.
on
Okay.
Saturday.
I'm good with that.
Oh.
I'm good with not meeting on Saturday, trust me.
And if the
I mean,
FinCom want
but,
to hold something, they can. It's up to them.
Well, and I want, well, it's also important to let the staff know that they're not obligated.
No,
To
they're
be
not
here.
obligated.
Right.
Correct.
They were not all here last year.
I know. But
They're not obligated.
yeah, it's a better story for me to say, hey, you got a Saturday back.
Yay.
It means something to me, right? Like, if you're a staff person and you hear you don't
Do
have to
we
be.
I'm
need,
happy
do
to
we
go
need a
Saturday.
motion for that? Or are we good with just saying there is no summit on Saturday?
You don't read anything else further in here, right? Like, I'm just making sure, and I
I
can
just want to
go,
make sure.
and I can go fall on the sword down at FinCom and say, hey, I
Well,
don't think.
see,
we
it
need-"
was this, by the first day of March, the town administrator submitted the proposed budget. That's when we looked
I think
at
it was always just, it
everything
was easiest to do it all
together
at once.
with the FinCom.
And we've had joint meetings with the FinCom, 2
Mm-hmm.
of them reference to your budget
And I've sent it to Don, so everything that the
for
staff got,
that.
the staff got the same exact budget that Don got, the omnibus budget and the recap
That you have in,
that I just presented.
Yeah.
He got both of them last week.
I make a motion to have the budget summit on March 13th.
Is there a second?
Oh, 14th.
Saturday, the 14th.
I'll second that.
Okay, is there any further discussion? Hearing none.
Okay, well, let me further discuss
didn't
here,
talk fast
just
enough.
1 minute. The FinCom it has to be contingent on the FinCom agreeing. And are we
We can-
meeting with the FinCom at all? Or are they just gonna, because this budget, in my mind, is not final.
I would say,
Correct,
I would-
it's not.
yeah,
But
I would
it's
look
not
to have
final.
them come and meet with us on the 17th.
Okay,
Why don't we have a nice, and the only agenda item on the 17th, other than
I think.
the annual town meeting warrants, and then I
Can
know
we do
we,
that afterwards though? Probably could.
yep, so we could do that.
But we could do it even.
we may have a.
There's not a rush on that.
We
We
may
can
have
do
an
it after.
executive, we have an executive session for the police chief. 'cause
And
I
we
forgot
have to
about that
start
once again.
early.
But that's the only thing we talk about is here's the budget. We go line by line with them and I'll answer all their
I have a
questions.
hard stop.
At 7:45 that night?
We're correct.
I would rather do that than do it on Saturday.
Okay, me
Amen.
too.
So I would make the motion.
Let me revise my motion. I make a motion to revise the date and time of the budget summit from Saturday, the 14th, and request FinCom to do a joint meeting on 17th.
Second, Veronica Cal second.
Any further discussion? Just work on the timing for that,
Mhm.
and we'll talk about that after. Roll call vote,
Veronica Cal, aye.
Probably good at Jai.
and Laura Schiff and I. Thank you very much, and thank you
That
for all your
covers
hard
6.1
work.
too, by the way.
Cool.
Yes, it's 6.1, that covers 6.1, yes. Okay,
Gotcha on that one.
Okay, but you'll have to tell us after talking to the FinCom.
yes,
Sabrina can
Mhm.
organize all that.
6.2.
So that I don't get too excited and schedule lots of things for Saturday. Go ahead.
I don't have anything for 6.2.
I don't have anything.
Okay, I do. So I gave you the TCAM report already. I will report again next Tuesday, okay, after our meeting. And also I have a full ad hoc committee with 2 members from the Housing Trust.
Oh, who?
Yes,
Who?
David Whirlin and Cindy Bounty.
Oh, good.
And no response from the authority. Well, no positive response from the authority, okay? So I'm good. If you guys are good, we now have all the positions that we
Do we have
discussed.
to appoint those last 2 people?
yes, I would like that, because we had the other names in the other motion.
We should make that an appointment
Let's do
next
that
time.
on the 17th, yeah.
Appointment.
Got it.
Yeah, okay.
Dave Merlin and Cindy, yep.
The plan is, and they all know this, is that we're gonna meet before the 25th for our first meeting to plan what steps and all that. Okay, so thank you very much on that. Announcements and volunteer responses, and also says, I had asked for a list of open positions that were not, where nobody pulled papers or submitted papers, and
There's
And
still
we don't have
write-ins that might happen and all that type of stuff, so we can't say who's. And
Yeah, town
haven't
clerk
been
was
certified.
verifying the sign-up
Signatures.
sheets for folks today. I
Uh-huh.
talked to Jack, he's like, I'm still verifying that, if Kieran got 10 signatures, that all 10 were residents confirmed. He said, so, we're just, he's like, I'll report back to you later on this week, so probably Thursday.
okay,
we
so
probably should wait until
put
the
it on the
ballot,
agenda.
because,
Yeah. 317.
but don't forget, 2 people can pull their names off still.
Mhm.
So they have until the 24th, someone could have submitted their paperwork. I was close last year, y'all, and they could decide to pull their name off, so I wouldn't say until the ballots
So,
been finalized. You can submit your paperwork, and then at the right up until when
What's the last day of pulling your papers?
I could get
I
that.
mean, taking them back.
It's right before when everything's due. I can give you the exact date.
23rd,
the ballot questions
Something
are
like
due on the
that. I can
23rd,
give
so
it to
it's
you.
right around that,
Yeah.
that time.
22nd maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we don't, there's no way to know until the ballots. Ready.
Okay. Then I would just say to everyone out there, if anyone is interested in volunteering or interested in writing in for a certain position, that you check our website or the town clerk site and see what's still
fun.
available.
There are some still open, again,
Yeah,
Everything
there are.
technically
roles are
is.
being checked. And, in the event we have a couple of contested races, I'll work with the moderator for a candidates night. So I think that's an exciting opportunity for folks to get to know people, whether it
I
be in
think
person
the-
or on
Even
Zoom.
if there's just one contested one, I think everybody should have an opportunity to
I
speak.
believe the,
We did it virtual
Business
last
Bureau
year.
is arranging. I think there's
Oh, are they?
something already being arranged.
Yeah.
So
Who's arranging?
I'm not sure. Let me get back to you before I say anything.
Okay.
Next week. I'm not gonna say, because I don't know. I heard, because it's not. I don't know.
For me, it was the moderator. I heard, Mr.
That was what
Barrett was
happened last
interested
year.
in organizing.
He usually does that.
Yeah, so
But other times it's been other people who have run it too. It hasn't always been the moderator.
well,
Yeah,
I'll
it used to
figure
be the newspaper.
Yeah. Which is private.
Um,
So
TBA, I think, did it once, but they don't run it. It was run by that once, and it never happened again.
we can't, anybody can have a candidates night that wants to, technically.
I tried to
I guess
get
if it's
out
not
of
in
daylight,
town
so
hall.
I failed. I would say revisit that for next
Yep.
meeting
Okay.
for the 24th.
Okay.
Otherwise, you guys have payroll.
I would good to make a motion to, review and sign payroll and bills payable warrants out of session.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Veronica Cal.
Your name
I would
is?
good check.
Laura Schiffer and I. And the next meeting is on the 17th.
And I'll work with you on
Actually,
the time.
that was before the payroll thing, but okay. And time to be determined.
Mhm.
Okay. And then the 19th is the meeting at the high school at 7 PM.
We're not meeting before that, right? We're gonna cover
No, the
it all
17th.
on the 17th.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
And,
Drink your Gatorade before.
okay, 7.1 executive session.
I have to apologize to the police chief. I was supposed to put him in here, but I will send you out his draft comments on contract. So we are
Okay.
fully prepared.
Thank you.
I owe him that. I forgot about that. So
Okay, would that come up next week?
next week,
Okay,
yes, definitely.
but I can read this motion.
Yes, ma'am.
I, Laura Schiffer, move to enter into and adjourn from executive session pursuant to open meeting law, chapter 30A, section 21A3, to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining if an open meeting law may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining position of the public body. And I, as chair, Laura Schifrin, so declares. And that is AFSCME Local 93, Clerical Union, Supervisors Union, Highway, Water Union. Is there a second?
Seconded. Targeted.
Okay. Any discussion? Hearing none.
I'll say that we will have Mr. Jason Silva here as consultant TA to the town. He will remain with us in executive session.
Okay, and I will allow that. Roll call vote.
Veronica Cal,
Targeted, aye.
And Laura Schiff and I. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, TK, and we will not be returning. Have a nice night.
The recording has stopped.
Okay, we're back. I'm gonna put myself up here. All right, well, that was interesting. That was pretty anxiety producing, actually. I'm really not too happy with that budget. But that is how it is. They do things that I don't like. I'm not even gonna go really deep into this. I mean, I'm vehemently opposed to the Townsend First policy. That was something that they went over. The budget, I think Kieran Meehan, the interim town administrator, is doing really a great job, but he's not where I want him to be. I think we do need, I've talked about an override all year, and they've not taken any inkling. They don't even know how to look at a budget and a forecast. They don't know how to do that, and the FinCom definitely doesn't know how to do that. Neither board knows how to do that, and they just need. I mean, it's done. Creating, it's actually a spreadsheet where you put down what your budget items are, and you put how much. For you look at a few years and what's the trend. You determine the trend. You do an analysis, and you see this is how much we need. And we've gone over that on what the increases are. Some of these increases have changed, which I acknowledge, since I've been talking. But you can see, even to the future, you can actually see if we do an override this year, when will we need another one? You just through a basic analysis. This is not rocket science, and but they won't. They won't even do that, and they won't discuss it that way. They're always both the FinCom and the Select Board are just picking at little things and and then violating financial sound management, which is taking $100,000 from free cash is completely inappropriate. It's against the town's financial policies, but it's also against sound recommendations from Department of Revenue and any financial advisor working either in government or elsewhere. But you just can't. You're setting yourself up, because then you always have to do it. And what Veronica said was true. They've been doing it for a few years because, okay, well, when you don't have free cash, which I expect, it's possible we won't have any free cash next year. They're going to, this year, I think they're selling themselves short. They're doing it again. They're declaring winter over early. Winter's not over just because it was nice today. We've got more snow and ice. And my thing with snow and ice, one thing, we can talk about snow. I really don't care if we don't get any snow. If it doesn't snow once, that doesn't mean you're not going to spend any money on snow and ice. Because there's two words there, snow and ice. And a lot of the money gets spent on prevention. Like, they have to pre-treat the roads. And we get ice almost every night. Like, I looked at the schedule. It's not the schedule. I was looking at the weather forecast for the next week or two. And I don't think it's going to freeze over tonight. There's a couple, in a few days from now, we're going to get, the temperature's going to be dropping below freezing. And we've got even some days where it's going to be pretty cold. But the highway's going to be out, pre-treating the roads and treating the roads. We're getting rain tomorrow. And there's days where it's going to rain, and then you also have the melt. If you're out today, it was over 70 today. Melting galore, I love it. But the roads were soaked, and there still are. And once the temperature, it's not going to tonight, but when the temperature drops below freezing, that runoff of water is going to freeze, and it's going to leave horrible black ice, and people could die. So they're out there always pre-treating. I'm sure they got the night off. They're probably happy today. I know they were doing potholes today. They did the gargantuan one that was in front of my house. I called them the other day or sent an email, and they put a barrel in front of my house. And now the barrels are gone, and they did fill some potholes on West Elm. So that so if you see there's still a puddle there, and people that know about the pothole are still avoiding it. And I'm glad they are, because I got splashed today. I was out by my mailbox, and cars go by, they hit the puddle, and I take a shower. But people are still avoiding it, but they did fix it. But I would still avoid it because it's going to break up again because of frost heaves and everything else. But that's what we're dealing with. And they're estimating 350 on snow and ice. That's not enough. It's just not enough. I haven't studied the budget to say how much they're talking about in the budget for next year. He said they're increasing. He put more money in it. I haven't checked to see what that number is, but they need to increase that for next year, minimum 200,000. Because we're always in deficit on snow and ice, okay? We're always in deficit. And that doesn't have to be that way, but that's something Townsend has been doing for decades. It's bad. It's not good. Other towns have changed the way that they manage snow and ice, and they're more realistic. We're not, even with climate change, it's not going to not snow. Even if it doesn't snow, we're going to have ice. So we've had lean years, but we also have been slammed. But we have to be, we don't have to worry about not over budgeting. We're nowhere close to over budgeting, because if you over budget, then you can't access that money. You have to wait till next year to have it show up in free cash. But if we're not going to over budget, we'd have to put an additional 400,000, definitely, maybe 5, to over budget. That would be what would happen if we put 5 or maybe even 6 on a budget for snow and ice. That's too much. So we'd end up with money left over. Everybody would be crying, we can't touch that money. No, you can't. Well, you could. I mean, when you do the municipal transfers in June, you could get it then. But that kind of is a problem. But the deficit spending that we've been doing is just not a good idea. But anyway, I'm talking too much about that. But we need really more of a comprehensive budget analysis done, and it just hasn't been done. Everybody's been on the seat of their pants, counting nothing, and it's horrifying. And it's to see the incompetence that's been going on here, and the inappropriate usage of taxpayers' money. We are broke. I mean, we need more money. We really do need an override. They talking about, I can't remember how much the 190 something for the police budget. They put an override in for that. I support it. I support the override for the police. I am disappointed, and I will be saying this at town meeting, or at the special town meeting is in a couple weeks, or next week. Oh my God, it's next week. But I'm disappointed that it's just for the police. We need all of our employees need their raises funded, and it's really hurting our town. That they should not have just the police. It's not just the police that need this increase, and I'm just not happy. That I think that they should have taken more into consideration. They've had plenty of time to be able to do a financial analysis of what's going on, and neither the select board nor the FinCom have had any inklings to do so. And Veronica Kell just doesn't like defeat, and she repeatedly lost override votes because she would never, the entire time she's been a member of the the select board, she has never given us an explanation as to why do we need an override. What is it that you're going to do with this money? And she's never answered the question, because she doesn't know. She doesn't care. She just wants our money, and she doesn't know. she really doesn't understand the budget. It's awful. I you know, I don't know. And then they're creating a political action committee to do an override committee. And it's like, I question the ethics of it to begin with. And secondly, we already have one of those. It's called the FinCom. And if you don't want to work with FinCom, you got to work with FinCom. What makes you think this override committee is going to be any easier to work with? Well, they're going to handpick who goes on there. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I'd want. I would. I think if it would be done right, I might be interested in getting on it. But I don't know. It really scares me because if it's more political than common sense, I'm not interested. And we really need to look. It's really do an analysis of our budget. No one will do it. So you're going to create an override committee to just discuss an override without doing an analysis. I'm not in. I'm out. Everybody should be out. And that's why an override can't pass in this town, because the leadership will not tell us what's going on. And that is driving me insane. You need to talk to the taxpayer and the voters, for Christ's sakes. All this secret squirrel stuff is killing me. But anyway, I'm tired. I'm done. So, nice day today, huh? Anyway, I'm going to call it quits for now for this meeting, this video. I do have a lot of things I want to do more videos on, because there's a lot going on around here, other than select board meetings. And there's open meeting law complaints. There's the election out there, the select board election. I think it's just the select board election. Everybody's getting really assholes. They're really being assholes. That people are just fighting about this. And it's like, I'm going to be doing videos countering all the nonsense that they're coming up with. The cult is coming up with all kinds of ridiculous accusations that don't make any sense and are completely untrue. And there's a couple of particularly vile people that I'll be calling out in future videos. So we'll see. Anyway, all right, I'm calling it quits. I got to do some stuff. I got to get going. And that's it. So have a good night. I want to thank everybody for being here and hanging in there with me for this. And just don't forget, if you haven't already, like and subscribe. Like this video and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. All right. Thanks a lot, everybody. Have a good evening. I'm out.